live. You're live. Nah. You're live. I said
Good afternoon, everyone.
I said it in a weird voice, so I thought I'd just,
Okay, I
to the
thought
bit.
it was some reference I just wasn't getting.
No.
Okay.
But that wouldn't be unusual though, just because we are of the generation that speaks only in memes.
Yes.
That one episode of Star Trek Next Generation speaks to me.
Garmac and Gillard at Tanagra.
At Tanagra. His arms wide open. Anyway. Good. Yes, hello everyone. We're slightly early because we were kind of sitting here and Caradog's already started working on the content. I'm like, my guy, you've got to wait until we actually go live. So
I was mostly just, sticking the SSD in there before we kind of go, oh yeah, we built this up and oh, we need to test it now and oh, where's the SSD gone?
Oh yeah. No, it'll only take about an hour, right? Now would be a good time to insert ads. Silence, YouTube Studio.
I don't know, maybe you should insert ads now.
I mean, I could, yeah. That'd be kind of funny to commit to that bit, just, yeah.
Every time you go live and you go, hello everyone, now's a good time to insert ads. Boff.
It's like a standard American TV show where you get the cold opening for 30 seconds and then immediate ad run. And it's like, what? They haven't even run the intro to the show yet, That kind of blows my mind that that's a thing.
Do you know what else is a thing?
What?
That, on the 9 bajillionth rerun of Friends, one of the networks that did the rerun, they sped up the episode by, what was it, something like 19.2% or something like that.
19.2%?
Or something wildly high like that, so
Yeah.
they could fit in another 15-minute ad break. over
15-minute ad break.
Yeah. Or another 15 minutes total of adverts.
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, oh.
God, yeah.
So they were running the episode fast to fit more adverts in.
Hideous. I hate it. Yeah. You can't do, yeah, no, terrible. Anyway. Hello. American TV feels more like ads than content. Yeah. It's all right now. We've got streaming media. Those days are past now.
Yes.
We just have a billion streaming media services that
Do
you
you?
have to pay for independently.
Do you? Oh.
And
I mean, I just use Plex.
yeah. Well, stay with me. And I was going to we've gone from having far too many cable channels that you all have to subscribe to, that they were sold in bundles, that now we've got far too many streaming services that you have to subscribe to.
Which are now sold in bundles.
And when you subscribe to them, there's still adverts.
Yes.
What am I paying for? So, yeah.
The membership.
Loyalty bonus.
The community.
You must have loyalty. Anyway. Hello. We are here. Welcome on. Sorry for the late scheduling. It's been a really hectic day and I was stressed out of my brain until about 3 o'clock when things started calming down. But we're here now. So yes. It is time for the Laurel and Hardy Tech Show. Thoughts on AMD GPUs? 9070 XT looks good and the price is not mind-blowing, but fine. It seems completely reasonable. I think we all hoped and dreamed that they would come out with something hyper aggressive, but at the same time, I think anyone with a brain knew that it wasn't going to be hyper aggressive. However, $600 for 4080 performance. That's right, isn't it? 4080 performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
about $600 for 4080 performance. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. The non-XT version at $50 cheaper is just like, why would you do this? Who the hell is going to do that? You just pay another $50 and get far more. But also, I watched the WAN show and Linus's opinion on this, which I thought was a pretty interesting take, was he said it's entirely possible that the 9070 XT at 600 is AMD's aggressive price, and and $550 for the non-XT is the realistic price for that one. And they're banking on the fact that the non-XT cards are probably going to sell anyway because people will take just whatever they can get at the moment. However, that $600 is their aggressive play. And in reality, they wanted it to be more expensive than that. That was Linus's theory, and I think that's probably a decent theory.
We did have the 5700 XT and 5700 launch $50 apart back in the before times.
Yeah, in the long ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that kind of worked. So, but yeah.
The problem is we'll get enough cards at 600 MSRP. Well, all of them are going to be partner cards. There's no reference model. But yeah, this is true. The $600 is the MSRP. What's the reality going to be? We don't know.
Yeah.
The scalp prices, I think I've got high hopes that the $600 will be real. And the reason for that, again, having been listening to Linus's takes on this, because at the end of the day, he's in the business. He does kind of know what he's talking about. He said that, like the 9070 and XT, this launch has been delayed, but that was probably down to software issues. In the meantime, during the delay, they've been making wafers. They've been shipping wafers to partners. Partners have been building cards. They've been stocking up. There's a very good chance that they do actually have real inventory for this, and hopefully enough to actually flood the market and make sure that the price is actually real. And I think that might be, even if the price isn't what everyone hoped and dreamed, I think the fact that that there will actually be cards at that price, I think that's a realistic prospect.
I think the other thing as well with regards to supply is obviously the fact that we've had people on YouTube with channels that have subscriber accounts saying, it's a bit weird for us to get this slide deck announcing the card after we've already had the card.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. So like
so it's like, the review models have been out there for a while. There are hundreds of photos of stock rooms filled at Micro Center with 9070s and 9070 XTs.
Yeah.
So, there have been lots of photos of that. So at the very least, there are cards.
Yeah.
We just don't know how many there are.
Yeah.
But it's also, I imagine, it's certainly based on past history, the Power Color, is it the Power Color Hellhound? Can't remember. The Hellhound edition, and then
a Sapphire Pulse.
The Pulse.
Yeah.
Sapphire and Power Color have always been very kind of strong on trying to get those cards to sit as close to the MSRP as possible for the entire time.
Yeah, like the Asus card ain't going to be MSRP because it's Asus.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind something like a Sapphire Pulse and the Sapphire Pulse,
the Pulse is excellent.
Yeah, they're great. They're great looking cards
good for how cheap they make it.
Yeah, for cheap graphics cards, they look really respectable. I've bought a couple of Pulses in the past for computers in the shop, and every time I've taken it out the box and been like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a pound shop graphics card like when you buy like maybe the cheap Zotac or something like that, because like the super cheap Zotac or like the MSI what's the, not the Windforce, what's the cheap MSI, the Ventri someone help me, the MSI Ventus, yeah, like the MSI Ventuses, those always look kind of cheap in my opinion.
The Venti,
yeah, but Ventus, but again, yeah, Asus ASRock Challenger, yeah, ASRock's, I think all the ASRock's look cheap, to be honest.
The ASRock Challenger for the, I can't remember if it was the 6950 XT, was the best PCB 6950 XT.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this according to like Billzoid or something like that?
It had gone absolutely nuts with everything. It had all the capacitors. It had all of the phases. It had all of the multi-high amp power stages.
Was it a really hideous cooler though?
I mean, it didn't look great, but like
that's a very conservative answer. I'm googling this
from memory, like that
my
one.
leg seized.
And it was just like, yeah, they built a ridiculously over the top, like 6950 XT or something.
6950 XT.
That's a 6750 XT.
Silence. Homages. 6950. Radian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm.
But you can kind of see just kind of what that
I can't
generation
see one that's
looked
actually
like,
called
like,
Challenger specifically. However, I don't like the ASRock graphics cards. I think they're hideous. Yeah, like don't get me wrong. If they work, they work, and sometimes you get what you can get. But yeah,
I think the
Challenger Arc looks fine.
Yeah, I think the Arc line of Challenger, they've actually done a reasonably good job with kind of, here is a cheap graphics card, but it actually looks fine.
Yeah, like where did I just see? See, here's an Arc A580 Challenger. That looks fine, plastic cover, 2 fans on, no problem.
Yeah, or like the one in the bottom right there, which is the A380 one, left one.
Oh.
It's just we've taken this, made it as small as reasonable, and just put a bit of a shroud around it.
Sure.
And like for a card that I think was like £130.
Yeah.
It's like
This one's a little bit It's not terrible, but I'm not seeing anything truly hideous here. But I know I've seen some. I know I've seen some cards like is that ASRock? Yeah, like I don't know what's going on with this. That's a bit. How you doing?
Here's some chintzy plastic bling.
Yeah, that's it. So like I'm not seeing any results specifically here, but I believe it. I believe it.
It's wild.
So yeah. Ugh, but yeah, Mech and Ventus are cheap. However, yes, at the end of the day though, Palette. Palette have made some slightly ugly cards. Like, what was it? Your Palette? Yeah, you had a 3090 Palette, didn't you? Palette 3090.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think your 3090 was a Palette.
One of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Or it might have been a PNY one. I can't remember.
No, I think it was a Palette because I thought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I thought it was. I thought that one was kind of chintzy.
I really liked it because
I
it
remember
was
you
really
liking
compact.
Oh yeah,
it was super compact.
Yeah.
Because it was only PCIe slot height tall.
Yeah.
And was only kind of 2.5 fans long, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because
it was a triple fan cooler.
Yeah,
as well,
but it was a
wasn't
triple fan cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just made it really compact.
Yeah.
And I just appreciated that because the thermal performance wasn't terrible either.
Yeah.
Like obviously it wasn't the best, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Everything was less than 110 Celsius, unlike the Founders.
Yeah. I didn't think it looked particularly nice. However, it was a very good functional card, which at the end of the day is all you care about. You know.
It's also absolutely the card you would try and fit in a 220T.
Yeah,
sort
that's
of thing,
true. Yeah.
Because it was actually, and it's like, hi, I have a bloody 3090 in a 220T.
Yeah.
Try doing that with basically any of the other cards.
Yeah. Jason Budney said, I got a Gigabyte Gaming 6900 XT. It was on the low end, but still great and going strong. Yeah, 6900 XT is great. I think that's still a cracking graphics card. The 6000 series, you can pick them up for a song, and they're still great cards.
My only disappointment with the 6900 and the 6950 was that they were only 16 gig cards.
Yeah, when they could have been 24s. Yeah.
But
still,
AMD,
16 is fine.
It's just a case of obviously AMD wasn't in the position to
pile it on there. Yeah.
Pile it on there at that time because memory was hella expensive.
Yeah.
At that point.
I think this is the reason why the 7900 XTX is just such a strong, underrated graphics card because it's devastatingly fast. It's not a 4090, but like that's not a fight you're going to win.
Yeah.
But it tops the 4080 class cards, and it's got 24 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and it costs the same as a 4080. So it's just like, it really is that, anyone who bought a 4080, unless you really care about like ray tracing and stuff like that, why would you not have bought the 7900 XTX? So yeah, again, I think the only reason why I haven't bought one of those at some point is just because I got my 4080 for a song.
Yeah.
Because
you already have a 4080, it doesn't make sense to get a 7900 XTX.
That's it. Like I really want a 9070 XT.
Yeah.
But it would be a side grade, and I would lose the NVIDIA perks.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Carolog before the stream started, because I've made noises of, because I could sell my 4080, buy a 9070 XT, and have money left over.
Yeah.
And I would have the same performance, but I'd lose ray tracing performance. I'd lose video encode performance, because while AMD have improved their video encoder, let's face it, it's not going to be as fast as NVIDIA's. And I do use Blender, and NVIDIA is better in Blender.
Yeah, so certainly the Blender side of it.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see how the 90, 70, and so on will compare for Blender and so on, just because obviously there is far more of the ML acceleration in there. There is increased ray tracing performance and so on.
I'm really curious to do some testing with Blender, because this was something that there doesn't seem to be a lot of data out there for.
Blender does do its own Open Blender benchmark.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I hadn't looked in detail, but for example, the common review, Gamers Nexus hardware unboxed and stuff like that, unblocked. They
help me, I've been unblocked.
Yeah,
I've been degrammed.
Yeah, in their productivity benchmarks, they'll do, they don't do Blender render in their productivity benchmarks, which I find strange, because Blender is something that a lot of gamers are likely to try and pick up as a productivity thing.
Yeah.
There's lots of that. I think a lot of gamer type people like myself at some point are probably going to take a look at Blender, because they want to try and get into doing some 3D work for whatever reason. Whether they're making 3D print stuff, whether they're tinkering with some 3D models, which is basically what I'm doing, or whether they're just full blown thinking, actually, I want to learn to animate. Because loads of people learned Source Filmmaker, and Blender is the modern day version of that. SFM is long since obsolete, but Blender is not that dense to get into. So yeah. Hello, Katrina. When will you start drone production? No plans for now. I like the idea of drones, but I don't have the time or money to get into it, because it requires me to actually go out to a field to fly them.
Oh, we're talking about quadcopters and such. Okay.
Yeah. How long does it take to grow your beard? Probably only a couple of years. However, there's the initial grow out, and then the grow gets a lot slower. And once every couple of weeks, I trim a centimeter off the bottom just to square it off. So yeah. But yeah, not that long, to be honest. I don't think. Right, hang on a sec. I'm just going to roll back and catch up on chat a little bit. Let's see. Transcoding still need a dedicated card. Well, again, if you're on NVIDIA, transcoding in Handbrake is rapid, because NVIDIA have just piled lots of money into the FFmpeg Foundation, which AMD have not.
Yeah, but it's also still entirely viable to do it on the AMD card. You can still get over, more than real time. Yeah,
to put things in perspective, when I borrowed your 7900 XTX, my workflow in Handbrake is I record videos in 4K with four 1080p camera feeds in it. I record as a 4K tile of 4 camera streams. Then I transcode those and I record in Flash video. So if the recording rig crashes, I don't lose the recording. Whereas if you record directly, into something like H.264, if OBS crashes mid-record, you lose the whole file.
Yeah, you need to swap recording format to the.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think I'm on Matroska or whatever.
Yeah, the new version that OBS built, because it specifically handles incomplete files.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, they specifically modified
I don't think I'm actually using Flash, but
no, I know.
Streaming format.
Yeah, they've specifically built one for that situation. So it may end up being a lot faster for you.
Yeah.
Just because
So
it's
yeah,
actually built for it.
at any rate, yeah. So I recorded that. Then I transcode out to 4 1080p files, which I then edit. And so that transcode process, it's doing a crop and re-encode, and that's the operation it's doing. So it's having to do a transform and encode, which is fairly heavy duty. And so with my 4080, it does that at about 450 FPS, which is blazing fast. Like the most recent update, the actual transform, it used to be CPU bound because the transform was being done on CPU and the re-encode was being done in GPU. But now the transform is done in the NVENC. Well, the transform is done on GPU now as well. So it's now doing like 450 FPS, which is nuts. Your 7900 XTX was like 250, so it's like half the speed, but 250 FPS, that's still pretty quick, even when you're dealing with 60 frame FPS footage.
It's still 4 times real time.
That's
sort of
it.
thing.
That's still not too shabby. Like when I was borrowing your card, I was like, it's half the speed, but like I wasn't super fussed because usually when I'm doing the transcode, I queue up the transcodes to do, minimize handbrake, and I will be playing like a light video game or something where it can run the game while it's doing the transcoding. So I don't really care if it takes a long time. It's kind of the same as when you're doing export when you're actually exporting the edited video. Lots of people are just like, oh, you want your exports to be as fast as possible. Well, the export is probably going to take 20 minutes or more anyway. So at that point, you're going to leave it to run and do something else. So it doesn't really matter if it takes 20 minutes or 40 minutes. It's
just a case of, see, if you're... It's the conversation for if you're building something entirely new.
Yeah, that's it.
You build the one that's faster.
Absolutely.
For the tasks you do. But
so
at the same
that's
time,
it. You want it to be faster, but it's not devastate. Like again, that's the thing is, while this is why I would quite happily trade in my 4080 for a 7900 XTX, for example, because even though I would lose that ray tracing and that transcoding and stuff like that, I can live without that. I would take the faster raster and more VRAM any day of the week because that means my games run faster. And that's what I do care about because more FPS in game is something that directly benefits me. My transcode's taking a bit longer, I don't really care. However, the game running at a higher FPS, that I do care about. So, yeah.
And the other thing as well, talking about that, is AMD specifically called out their improvements to their hardware encode engines.
Yeah, that looked exciting. The comparisons they did looked pretty amazing. Like they were only showing like sort of still frames and stuff like that, but some of the still frames they showed, and it was really good as well because they were showing examples of very typical video encoding. So they were looking at H.264 6 megabit per second, which is basically what 90% of Twitch streamers are running. So like that was a really smart move there because they were 1080p, H.264, 60 FPS. That's what most people are wanting to run. So that's what they targeted. Really smart. Like they could have said, look, we're encoding at 4K. No one's Twitch streaming at 4K. That's not something that people bother.
There just isn't the bandwidth.
And the certainly the still image comparisons, the RDNA 4 one looked drastically better. But still images don't tell the whole story, so take that with a pinch of salt. But certainly in the presentation it looked really good.
Is it VPerf that is that video encoding benchmark?
Don't know.
Tool? I can't remember. But they were saying they were seeing significant improvements in those schools as well, which is certainly a good step. And obviously if that's something that they actually work on for next gen as well, again, have another improvement equal to what they did this time. It'll be excellent.
Der Fildo also said, or Der Fildo, I don't know what, pretend I didn't say that. Fildo said AMD is also just better for Linux users, which is also always worthy of mention. While this isn't, I don't have a horse in that race, but I have heard consistently that AMD just plays nicer for Linux, and that's also important because Steam Deck and SteamOS, which obviously is Linux-based. So better Linux compatibility and performance, while that might not be something that we as Windows users care about right now, that's really good for the future of stuff like the Steam Deck and SteamOS.
Yes. The other thing I was thinking of, you were saying about SteamOS, because obviously there were announcements and stuff about other companies making Steam Decks and Steam Boxes and so on.
Yeah.
Hopefully that means that the actual kind of SteamOS build gets published as a publicly available build, as opposed to the other one that's out there currently, which is based on a different core OS. I can't remember which two it is, but that is also just a case of I'll be really interested to see how the new AI Max Plus 395 does on that with like Proton and stuff. So you have that, and you've got a Steam Deck that's is it 75% faster kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've no idea, but would you have that kind of thing? And that suddenly means like now I can play basically anything at 720p 60 on a little device that's like this. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Bazzite OS is the SteamOS clone, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, Linux users less than 4% of the market. Yes, however, again, does that account for the Steam Deck? That's
well, not
the
just
thing.
that. It's also a case of what does almost anyone who's actually in charge of large purchasing for big companies run? Probably Linux. An awful lot of the proper sweaty IT nerds are Linux users. So they have an awful lot more reach than just their market share. In the same way as the DIY market has an awful lot more reach than just its market share, because it affects the average Joe buying a PC box from PC World, because their tech nerdy friend will tell them this, that, this, and so on. So it's kind of
are those people? Yeah, I guess I'm talking from a gamer perspective here.
But also just a case of those people have more influence than just their market share percentage. So it's kind of it's useful to be good with that.
Can I post to YouTube? No, because the YouTube chat will eat it, and I have no idea how to resolve that. But if you just put in the title of the video, and people can search for it if they want to look at that. So
Shall we do the thing with this?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So
the thing I've realised we can do and skip all of the other thingingness is just this has BIOS flashback.
Have you checked if that's actually BIOS flashback and not just a reset?
Well, it says flashback.
Oh, okay.
So I presume it's flashback.
Possibly. Okay.
So we could just because you said this might be dodgy.
Possibly. We'll try that anyway. Because, let me tell the story behind this before we do that. So this motherboard came in yesterday. And it's not posting, and it's stuck on a no CPU error. It's stuck on CPU light. And I said to the customer, I said, okay, have you tried a different CPU in it? And he said, yes. And I said, what CPUs have you tried? And he said, I've tried a Ryzen 2400G, and the CPU that's in there now is a 5700 X3D. Now, this is very interesting because what we have there, the 2400G is a Zen 1 CPU, so very old, and the 5700 X3D is a Zen 3 CPU, and very late Zen 3 CPU, so very new. So it's entirely possible that this motherboard is on a BIOS version that is between those. The BIOS version is new enough that it's axed Zen 1 support, but it's not new enough to support the 5700 X3D, which would explain why his two different CPUs didn't work in the board. And so I just thought this was a very interesting case study to demonstrate just the problem of long-term socket support, basically, and the kind of
certainly with small BIOS chips and coming from a position of being massively behind in the market, so you release crap like Bulldozer for AM4. Because there are two Bulldozers architecture CPUs for AM4.
Ooh. Yes. Disgusting. And
then there's all of the A6s.
Yeah. So at any rate, so yeah, this motherboard has BIOS flashback, so we could just do a BIOS flashback on it, and that will probably make it work. But I've got a temperamental Ryzen 3700 XT.
3800 XT.
Yeah. So we're going to chuck that. Let's just see, demonstrate the fault first. So we'll leave that in there, and we'll just turn it on and just double check that the customer isn't a tool. And then we'll try putting that in, and we should find that that CPU will probably work, and then we can be like, look, there we go. The BIOS version is wrong, and we can demonstrate the problem.
There we go. Look, your CPU is dead.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully
Zen
not.
1 CPUs are still supported with the latest BIOS on AM4. Source citation needed. Citation needed.
I was going to say, it massively varies between...
Yeah, it depends on the motherboard. There's going to be a couple of motherboards where they put like a 64
well.
megabyte BIOS chip on it or something. But I know for a fact that a lot of motherboards have axed Zen 1.
From memory, because there's a compatibility chart for it, the X570 and B550 just did not support older than the 3000 series.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll look it up, just an interesting...
From memory.
B550 a Pro. We'll actually check, because we're going to need the BIOS for this anyway, so let's actually look this up. Hold on, let's go to the desktop capture. Your choice regarding cookies on this site. No. Okay, right. Support.
My choice is om nom 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 nom.
Let's see. Compatibility. CPU support. Right. Let's order by old. Huh.
Order by old.
My God, there's 8 pages of CPUs.
Yeah.
It only goes back to 3000.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not even listing.
Yeah.
They're not even listing the 2000 series.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've literally said, no, we just don't support these.
Yeah.
So
as far as I'm aware...
I was expecting to see 2000 series CPUs, and like there would be a note saying, until BIOS version X or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no, as far
literally not supported anymore.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the B550 and X570 officially by default just did not support older than the 3000 series.
Yeah, so yeah, that just torpedoes that straight away. So let's see, 5700 X3D. So that we need 7C56 VAD. That's a really unhelpful thing to report. But yeah.
I mean, that's MSI BIOS version for you. They've
just
always been near
that.
gibberish.
D. Damn it. Drives and downloads, BIOS. So latest 5.7. Oh yeah, okay. So AJ, AI, AH, AD. So there we go. So this version, this is when the 5700 X3D was brought in, and that was June 23. Or might be August 23. I don't know because American dates. But yeah.
How would that be June in either sense?
May.
It'd be May.
It's gonna be May. Anyway.
It's gonna be what the hell are numbers, apparently.
Shut. Anyway. So yeah.
Come here.
So yeah, some 3000s are Zen 1. Citation needed. Which one? For a second, and I was like, uh-oh.
Spaghetti-o.
3200G. Surely that's Zen Plus.
It's Zen Plus.
Yeah. I was going to say, like the 2000 series, so the 2000 series are Zen Plus. If it's a 2400G, so it's the APU with the onboard graphics, it's a Zen 1. The 3200G is Zen Plus. It's one step back, basically.
There's also the weird, bizarro AFs, the 1600 AF, which is actually Zen Plus, but in the 1000 series numbering.
Whack. Yeah.
It was
Hello, Sai, here for a few seconds.
Hello, goodbye.
Explode you with my brain. Okay. So yes, yeah. At any rate, though, yeah. So this explains why this board is not supporting the CPUs he's tried in it, which I think is kind of interesting and whatever. So yeah, 2600, but called a 1600 as spec.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It was also, built on a different process node.
Whack. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Right.
Do you know the other thing that I really hope we see with the 9060 or 9060 XT is a really strong gaming card that's this.
Oh, compact card. Yeah.
Another one of this, so this 1060 can get basically retired because it's gonna drop driver support soon because it's 10 series.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means Windows Update won't find it.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
So it's just kind of a case of...
Good night, sweet prince.
Yes.
Yeah. I massively overpaid for that during the graphics card shortage. I think I bought that card for like £200 during the GPU shortage because we were just buying whatever we could get hold of, you know. But like, credit where it's due, that thing has been a trooper in this shop. That has just been all reliable.
Huh? Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I was very confused by the labeling next to the fan headers.
I see.
And just was not processing the information in any way correctly. Huh.
Very well. Mike said, I bought two 6500 XTs for $230 each. I feel your pain. Yeah, mood. Yeah. And yeah, Oran says, I'm going to get a 9060 XT to upgrade from your 1070. Yeah, 1070, that's been a trooper of a card as well. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it depends on what the 9060 XT ends up coming out at when that is released. No idea yet. Yeah. Firephone mentioned, have you heard about the Northrop fiasco? I was expecting this to come up at some point, and yeah, I've committed. I kind of want to give my 2 pence on this, just because, yeah, I was following that. Northridge Fix put his foot in it and started drama. Well, I say he put his foot in it. He just randomly decided to pick a bunch of fights with the repair community for seemingly no reason whatsoever. He put out a video where, now I haven't prepared at the moment, so I'm going to forget half the channels, but a known repair channel threw in the towel very recently and said, oh, you know, moving on, closing up shop kind of thing. And Northridge Fix put out a video basically sort of saying, you know, oh, why repair shops are failing and stuff like that. And the intention of his video was to discuss, I think his intention was to try and discuss the theory of just shops failing because they're not growing enough and stuff like that. I think he started off with genuine intentions of trying to do some commentary about growing a business, and if your business isn't growing, thinking about why your business isn't growing and what you can do to resolve that. That was what he intended to do. What he actually did was basically compare a lot of smaller channels to him and be like, these channels are underperforming and aren't doing well, and look how much bigger I am than them. While being completely tone deaf to whether those channels actually cared about their YouTube numbers and whether that was what their objectives were and whether they were actually doing okay or not. For example, you know, just randomly, Paul Daniels got thrown into this where he was just like, look at Paul Daniels, he's only got this many subscribers. When I had this many subscribers, he had this. Now I have 400,000 and he's only got 40,000. Look at that. And it's like, my guy, Paul Daniels does not care about YouTube growth. If you think Paul Daniels' business is failing, you don't know anything about Paul Daniels.
Yeah.
Shut the heck up, you know. And so basically he just picked a bunch of fights and just came off as a complete asshole. Yeah. And unsurprisingly, the repair community just laid into him over this. And then in response, he doubled down on the whole thing. Again, just missing the fact that it's again, I get that he had pure intentions, but the way his video came across, he missed the mark by a mile. So yeah. Anyway, that was that, and that's my opinion on it. I haven't commented on any of this because I'm not part of this kind of thing. But yeah, that's what happened basically. So yes. Soren got lumped into this as well, and I don't always agree with Soren for many reasons, but yeah, Soren also got dragged in this, and again, really unfairly as well. He basically said, oh, Soren's videos are too long, it's boring, he takes ages to disassemble the laptop. And it's like, my guy, there's a lot of people who like people who move slowly and go into detail. That's what long form content is, you know. And like, you know, I got beef with Soren over some of his methods, but his video structure and what he does, I don't have beef with that. You know, our videos are structured almost identically. You know, so yeah. Soren clapped back, and I support Soren on that. You know, so yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's my opinion on that lot. So yes. Yeah, it was again. I didn't want to wade into drama, but I just found it fascinating because I watched NRF's video on this, and I was just listening to it, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? This is just an unhinged rant where you just keep going off topic. And like, you're talking about other people not being to the point and making long form videos, and what you have here is a 45-minute unhinged rant about how you think other people's businesses that you clearly don't know anything about are not succeeding. Just like, yeah. I also recommend people look at Lewis Rossman's response. Again, I don't always agree with Lewis Rossman, but his response was also on point for this, where he basically said, you do not know what these people's objectives are. You don't know what their objectives are, what their values are, what they are trying to achieve, what their goals are in their business, you know. So, yeah. Anyway,
I also just found it funny that from what I saw, he called out Lewis Rossman for Lewis Rossman's YouTube channel being too small or something. And I'm like, Lewis Rossman has more than double your subscriber count.
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of thing, and it's just like,
yeah, and like again, you know, you can criticize Lewis Rossman's channel for not actually being a repair channel anymore. It's now, you know, consumer advocacy and stuff like that. There's a, you know, and while I cut my teeth in board repair by watching classic Lewis Rossman back when he did do board repair. He doesn't do board repair anymore. His channel is not the place to go to for board repair, you know. However, so yeah, but again, saying, you know, that's not the place to pick this fight just because that's not what his channel is about anymore. So I don't know, whatever. That was the thing. It was just a completely unhinged rant that just missed the mark by a mile. But yeah. I'm not gonna linger on this just because I wanted to. I've been desperate to throw in my 2 pence on this, but I didn't want to just wade into the comments on something that theoretically doesn't concern me, basically. But yeah, anyway, that was the drama. Alex was a bit of a twat, and everyone called him a twat, and he doubled down. So yeah, that's that. Past all of that, how are we doing? This board did not post on the customer CPU, I'm guessing.
I have confirmed that it does not post with the 5700X3D in there, and doing a BIOS reset did also not make it post. Also
Very
did not
well.
make it post, even.
Cool. All right. So we've now put in the 3800X XT, and so I would wager that it will work on this chip.
Oops.
Good job. There are so many times when I've done that on a video and just done a retake where I didn't do that. Like, and on every no post on Sundays video, at some point I've done that in the video and then just cut that in the edit. So. Hello, JD. You can criticise Lewis Rossman as long as you don't mind him paying you a visit late one night. As long as you don't mind him making a rebuttal about something completely different to the original subject. So, yeah. Anyway, like I say, I do not always agree with Lewis Rossman. Did the customer update the BIOS? So no, they haven't. So the customer hasn't done any BIOS updates because they can't, because it doesn't post, and they have not attempted a BIOS flashback. So yeah. Also, this is sitting on CPU light. It's entirely possible this motherboard is busted, of course. But
Yes.
yeah.
Do you have an actually working CPU? Like a CPU you know actually works? It needs to be 3000 series or 5000 series. Because this
Yeah.
out of the box supports 5000 series.
Yeah, I've got a 50.
Or do you have a spare motherboard?
There's a 5800X in the Lianli, but I don't really want to bust that out.
Where's the spare board?
I was going to say we've got a spare AM4 board. Why do you want to see if that CPU is
Well,
going to behave in some way?
at this point, we don't know if any of this works because we have no post.
True. Yeah. All right. Hang on a sec. Let me get the tester board.
So the other thing I'm going to do is stick different RAM in it, even
Yeah,
though it's not
yeah.
on the RAM light, just because we actually need to prove if any of this stuff works. So where did the motherboard come
there's
from?
the 5700G. Yeah, the 5700G. That's the semi-unstable one that crashes if you get to
yeah,
Windows,
but we know it
that will
posts.
post. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll chuck that in here in 2 secs.
Yep.
Right. I require something.
2600 or 2700. No, it won't. We looked at the compatibility list.
What?
Well, actually, that's Zen Plus, so it might work. However, but we don't have a 2000 series anyway.
The customer's RAM is over there
Noted.
because this is
My RAM.
functionally identical.
Yes. They do. I've done it. Fair enough. Well, we don't have a 2000 anyway, so it doesn't matter.
There you go. Do 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 do.
Bob. Okay.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
I think-
also just double check there wasn't a pile of something in the socket.
Yeah, I think that 5700G, yeah, that's the chip that I wanted to test with because I know that consistently posts.
Yes.
The 3800 XT, yeah, that's a bit how you're doing for posting. But if you bully it, it might post.
Goes the capture card.
Right. Oh, there was something there. Yeah, that's doing something.
Certainly doing something. The graphics card is graphics card. Oh, we've
Yeah.
got flashing of other lights.
Yeah,
there
that's
we go.
RAM training, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
doing stuff and things.
Cool.
Apparently the VGA is not VGAing, but that's fine.
Le capture. Hello, capture? Oh, well, we don't have a picture yet, so I'll just vamoose that. Be gone.
Apparently there's a problem with VGA. We shall see. Does it sort itself out?
Yeah, it might just still be RAM training.
Yeah, because it's
There you go.
flashing. Yeah,
Wow,
there you go.
what the hell? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Memory modules went in non-optimal?
Non-optimal slots.
Oh, yeah,
Are
you're
they?
in slot 3. Yeah, you want to be in slot 2.
Oops.
Yeah.
That's me not looking when I stick it in.
I don't think I've ever seen a post screen like that.
Yeah.
But then also I've never put the RAM in the wrong slot.
Huh?
Oh!
It's a single stick.
12 gig low-end GPU. Context? Don
Okay.
spaced remind. Okay, good. All right, so the motherboard works.
Good.
Yeah. You'll have about 30 seconds when you get to Windows. So yeah, I would reboot and crash it into BIOS, and we'll see what BIOS version it's running.
See.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, we're just going to BIOS update it anyway. But again, for the sake of demonstration, I think it would be cool to look at the BIOS version and be like, look, it's on an old BIOS version that doesn't match the CPU we want to use. That's why this doesn't work.
No, the 2060 did not have a 12GB version.
Is B580 12 gig mid or low tier GPU? I'd say it's a B580 is.
See, I would describe it as low tier because
Yeah.
it's the B series. Sorry, it's the 500.
Yeah.
And the only thing faster than that is going to be the 7, and the performance it's giving is low end of discrete graphics.
It depends on the
However-
band you're looking at with graphics cards. Like, if we're looking at the entire product stack from bottom to the 4090, then it's low end. However, if you're focusing on sort of middle of the road, so you're discounting flagships like the 80 class and 90 class cards, then it starts becoming more mid.
In theory, this maybe should have posted because it's got a 2024 BIOS on it.
Yeah,
And the 5700 X3Ds should have been supported from 2023, May 2023.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it might be a bum CPU. That'd be a pity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll
Yeah.
stick the new BIOS on there.
Okay. Let me grab a flash drive. Ugh. Do, 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 do. Do.
Are you doing Link Awakening's dungeon themes?
Not specifically,
Okay.
but yeah. Lower middle class. You can do 1440p. Yeah, that's fair. 1.46 V-Core sounds a bit high. Yeah, just Ryzen things.
I mean, 1.46 is entirely normal for
Yeah.
basically any of the Ryzen CPUs.
It'll come
They're
down
idle.
when it goes under load. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You just worry when you're doing 1.4 volts at 110C.
Yeah.
That's when you're doing problems. Not that one, that's the
right.
beta one. The one below.
Oh yeah, let's see. Beta version. Added security issue of SMM lock by card. Oh, interesting. That's some kind of security. That's obviously. Hang on a sec. Let's go to desktop a sec. Actually, just to show theory. The actual latest is a beta version, and it's got this security fix in it. So this BIOS update was obviously put out in a rush just to fix this security vulnerability, and they've just. This is probably just, they've done this security fix and they've done very little testing on this, so they've just slapped beta on it just to cover their ass, you know.
Probably.
This is probably fine. However, also, we don't super care about security fixes because this is a gaming PC.
We also just need it to actually post.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you were putting this into a mission critical business scenario, you'd probably care about that security fix, but home users do not care.
Is there an actual hardware switch to turn off the RGB?
I don't know, is there?
There's a switch and it's just called LED switch.
Huh.
So if it turns off the RGB as a hardware switch, you know.
That'd be kind of cool.
I quite like that feature.
Yeah. Right. Le BIOS. Le copy paste.
And then you can eject from that. Oh, okay.
Ah, force a habit. Yeah. I always do it from the system tray. Huh.
What are you?
Why do Microsoft continue to offer BIOS updates that are older than the one your machine is using? It shouldn't be offering a BIOS update that is older. But Windows Update can get into a situation where if the Windows Update will offer any update that it has already downloaded. So if you have an update downloaded, but it's no longer relevant, it will still be sitting there in Windows Update. So you can solve this by deleting C Windows Software Distribution. The Software Distribution folder, that's the Windows Update download and caching folder. And if you just go into safe mode and just delete that folder, that just wipes the Windows Update sort of cache and downloads. And then when you restart Windows and run Windows Update again, it will. When you restart Windows and run Windows Update, it will rebuild that folder and it will check again for updates.
Really?
So yeah. Hang on a sec. Capture with face. So yeah, you have a BitLocker enable thing. Yeah, have you not seen this before?
Well, no, my surprise is the fact that there's a BitLocker enabled partition on the Ghost Spectre SSD.
Oh yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, you would imagine that Ghost Spectre would disable that by default.
That's me going, huh?
Yeah.
Not.
Oh, actually, no. It might not actually be BitLockered. It might just be throwing up that warning just as a, because it's standard for it to say if you have BitLocker, you should disable it.
I thought it said a BitLocker partition has been detected.
I don't know. I think that might just be a poorly worded warning, whereas what they actually mean is if you have a BitLocker partition.
Yeah.
So yeah. In fact, no, that thing definitely ain't BitLockered because every time we put it in a different motherboard, it's not asking for a recovery key.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a very poorly worded warning.
Yeah.
Win 11 defaults to BitLocker midway. It depends on the system, but then on the other hand, any Windows 11 compatible system will be BitLocker capable. So yeah.
Capable. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I have when I do Rufus Windows 11 installs, I tell it to disable BitLocker by default, just because that should be something that you opt into, in my opinion. Because it's generally a bad thing when the customer is not aware that they're running BitLocker. Oh my God, I'm begging you, please just move the RAM stick.
Nope. This is your problem and you're failing. You let me know it annoys you. There we go.
Yeah. Jason Buddy said no need for 1.4 vCore at idle. So it does it for opportunistic boost stability. And what that means is when you're doing single core boost, you want a lot of voltage and you have a lot of idle voltage. So when one of the cores suddenly bangs up to max turbo frequency, the voltage is there to allow the core to just bang up to high frequency immediately, and then the voltage will pull down. Whereas if the voltage is already low at idle and one of the cores tries to bang up to max turbo, it'll probably conk out. Now, whether this is good or bad is another question, because that high idle voltage, that is one of the theories behind core degradation and stuff like that. However, that's why they do it, basically, is it enables very high opportunistic boost.
Oh.
Do you run BitLocker on your system? No. I do not have secure information on my computers. So any sensitive data that I have is sitting in like, encrypted Google Drive and stuff like that. So I don't need it. Whoop. So we're going back to the...
This is the customer's RAM.
Yeah. Also, I don't know what the hell the power light is doing at the moment. I think you just changed the RAM while it was in sleep. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn the power supply off, then on again.
Yeah. Okay. I just held the power button until it cut out.
Whack. So yeah, I think that Windows install is going to be really confused when we turn it on.
Ah, there we go. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Huh. That half-second delay from when you push the power button to it actually switching on.
Yeah. This is back on the customer's RAM.
Cool.
So basically, we're just proving that that works in this board.
Yes.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. BIOS reset. Cool.
There you go.
All right. Let's see. So we're on the 5700G with the customer RAM. So good.
Yeah.
Now we know that the customer RAM is good.
Yeah, it at least posts.
Yeah, and we're on that BIOS.
.ai.
Yeah, that's what we put. Has that BIOS date changed?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say I thought it was on that looked the same as what it was previously on, but I'll take your word for it. Cool.
So yes, that's fine.
All right, so now we swap the CPUs back over, and we should find that X3D works now.
Yeah.
Although, again, like you say, it was on a 2024 BIOS previously, so that's a bit concerning.
Yeah, so in
I've
theory,
got a horrible
it should have
feeling
worked.
yeah. I got a horrible feeling that this might be a CPU issue, which will be a bit of a shame. And in which case, the 24G he tried wouldn't have worked because it's too old.
Yeah.
And the 5700X3D doesn't work because it's busted.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'd suck. Hello, folks. How's my leg doing? It's doing okay. I've got new meds, which are they haven't removed the pain, but they've made it far more manageable. So I'm still figuring out timing for stuff, but I'm doing a lot better than I was before.
Oh yeah, the other thing I want to do is just put that in that board, just so we know whether that posts. Because if it doesn't post, there's not a lot of point in having it.
To be honest, I'm going to say it doesn't post reliably. The 5700G, that was the CPU that I intended to test with today. I don't trust that CPU. I think the only reason why I haven't thrown it out is just because, like, if I'm desperate for more testing stuff, then yeah, I'm being a magpie, basically.
Well, stop that.
That was a magpie noise.
Stop that.
No, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Also, it's sitting on the CPU light. This doesn't look good.
Nope.
Yeah. I'm going to quickly look up CPU compatibility for this board to see if the 5700X3D will run in this. This is a B450M.
Is this running a 2024 BIOS?
No, I
think done a BIOS update on it in the time you've had it.
I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember. But we can boot it up with the 5700G in and find out. So
because if it boots the 5700G, it will boot the X3D.
Okay, that sounds promising then. Yeah.
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 Yeah. You need to. Yeah, either way, it's worth just grabbing the latest BIOS for this.
Yeah. Cool. Right, sorry, yeah, I was just back reading chat for a moment.
Yes.
Okay, right, let's look up some details for
Motherboard
things.
Yeah, that's very much not going, is it?
Yeah, is it lid-ed? Yeah, fair enough.
It would appear so.
Let's look up some details for
this. It is, in fact, unpotate.
Unfortunate, yeah. So we'll try the customer's CPU in this test board then, and by the looks of things, we're going to have a dead CPU, which is a pity because that's a 5700X3D, which is basically the AM4 CPU that you want to have right now.
Yeah.
Unless you've got plenty of money, in which case you get a 5800X3D, but it's not really cost effective anymore.
No.
Right. This is the test board that we've got to work with. Where's the menu? There we go. Support. CPU memory support. What is this ordering?
I don't know. Why don't you just grab the latest BIOS and we'll put that on there anyway.
5,000. Yeah, hang on a moment. I just basically want to look and go, look here, it's on the list. 5600. This is just in random order. What the heck? What is this list? There's the 5700G, 5700X3D. There we go. So yeah, and that's supported as of BIOS 3802. So yeah, right. Let's get the latest anyway. Buy some firmware.
BIOS.
Whoop. Cool. All right. Right. What's the other busted keyboard? It's an Apple keyboard that's got a spicy pillow in it, and I thought it'd be interesting to open that up and have a look inside. So yeah, bet it was an Ali shipped CPU. Maybe. Yeah, that's a reasonable guess. Oh yeah, sorry. Can you yeah.
So far, we've had good success with all of those.
Yeah, I've not had a bad.
If they turn up.
Between us, we've ordered quite a couple of them, and if they haven't shown up, we've just been automatically refunded, or I have anyway.
Yeah.
And
same.
and if they have shown up, they've all been runners.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right, I'll just quickly lob the BIOS on there.
Because I've ordered two 7500Fs. You've ordered two 7500Fs?
Yes, yeah, and also
a couple of 7800 X3Ds?
Yeah, a couple of 7800 X3Ds. I want to say 2 or 3 actually.
Yeah.
At least 2, maybe 3, and they've all worked. So yeah, I believe in the AliExpress CPUs. Which is not to say they're all good. You know, you are going to roll the dice a little bit, but AliExpress has buyer protection, so if it doesn't work, you just get your money back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It blipped the DRAM light, but the CPU light didn't go out, which isn't what it did with the other ones. It turned off the CPU light and cycled it. So yeah, it looks like that is actually a potato and not a CPU.
Sag. With AM4 CPU, USB, go to MB Edge connectors, and USB to case I'm sorry, I'm going to need a rephrase on that one, Danielle. I do not comprehend that one, sorry.
Where is the 57? Cool.
Can you repair a liquid damaged laptop keyboard? No, just replace it. Just replace it.
That doesn't seem to be going.
When you liquid damage a keyboard, when you liquid damage a membrane keyboard, the liquid is going to get between all of the plastic layers in the keyboard, and if you really want to, you can take that keyboard apart, pull all the layers apart and clean and dry them, or you can buy a new keyboard for 20 quid. So just, yeah, I don't even entertain the idea of that. Heck, most of them these days are heat staked, so I just buy a new palm rest.
What happened?
I don't know, that's why I can't sell that motherboard.
What did you do to it?
Why do you think I did that?
Because it's your motherboard?
I don't even know where this motherboard came from, it just appeared one day.
You say that the same way Atari MP talks about his children.
Zing.
I don't know where this came from. It just appeared one day. Be gone.
Oh, actually. Ooh. Sorry, I started leaning over on my leg in a bad way then.
This was not the good. Ooh. It was the bad. Ooh.
Test the CPU. That's what we're doing right now, Lead Farmer. That's literally what we're doing on screen as we speak. When you ordered CPUs from AliExpress, what did you pay in import duties? Always reluctant due to not knowing what it is. So AliExpress levy the import duty, which is basically VAT, at the checkout.
Yeah, it's auto-calculated at checkout.
Yeah, so take, for example, the 7500F, which is the cheapest AM5 CPU that you can get from AliExpress. The list price on it will be like 120, something like that, I think it is.
Yeah, 115,
120. But when you get to checkout, the price will jump up to more like 140, 145, something like that. And that's all of the tax and duties being slapped on top of it.
And basically, yeah, the really simple way of doing it for the UK is just times the list price by 1.2.
Yeah. So yeah, as I say, AliExpress put all of that in at the start. So
yeah.
Yeah, and I've never had anything get caught in customs. So. AliExpress only does that if it's below a certain value. It's not the case for all countries. Yeah, this is talking as a UK buyer. Can't speak for other countries.
It's talking about a UK buyer for purchases of any value.
Yeah.
Because I've looked at carts at 6,000 or 7,000 from AliExpress, and it does the same thing. Because I was looking at industrial laser chillers and things like that.
I see.
Just because my friend's got big 5-axis laser cutters and stuff. And we were just looking at replacement parts.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Cool.
I think that's all we need.
Yeah. What chip is in there at the moment?
The 5700G.
Yeah, cool. So we're expecting a post here. Let's do face cam with capture.
Unfortunately, you have no LEDs on this board.
Yeah, this board is potato.
Yeah, it's an Asus.
Yeah.
You can't have any. Have any indicators for less than £500.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a B450, so it's not that potato, but yeah.
You're not allowed indicators.
Just ordered another few 7700s. Great chips at under 150. Yeah. Under 150 for the 7700. That's interesting. maybe a better buy than the 7500F.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's worth thinking about for less than, because like at under 150, you're talking like, you know, £5 or £10 extra to get a 7700 instead of a 7500F, which is basically a 7600. You know. So yeah. All right. We have posted.
Tool, flash. Flash your tool.
We're currently on 4604 and we're going to 4622. So yeah, it's on a reasonably recent BIOS, but not the latest. So yeah, worth pushing it up anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was September 24.
Yeah.
That's surprisingly recent. Wow.
Yeah, at one point I'd actually built this motherboard up into a computer. I got the whole way to building it up into a tower. The whole thing was completed and ready to go. And just as I put it over on the bench to do a sort of a final check on it, I noticed that it had a broken USB port on it, and I was like, oh, I can't sell this board because it's got a broken USB port. Guess I'm taking it apart and finding another motherboard.
It's fine. What you do is you put one of the Logitech unifying receivers in that port.
Oh, no.
You glue it into the port, and then you give them a Logitech unifying keyboard and mouse and say, here you go, it comes free with a USB keyboard and with a wireless keyboard and mouse.
Chat, boil this man.
You say it like it isn't true.
I tell you what I could do. I could get one of those wretched AM3 motherboards I've got and see if I can desolder the USB ports off of it and put it on there and actually just replace the stack. That, unironically, that's actually a good idea. I'm kind of curious to do that. Maybe not like right now, this very second.
You'll be allowed to do that after.
Oh yeah. I mean, that'd be good. That'd be good podcast content.
It'd be good mainline video content.
I guess just replacing busted USB ports. Yeah, maybe.
Because it's an example. It doesn't matter that this board is a cheap board. It's an example of like, imagine this was the £700 X570 ultra godlike blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I can do the same thing.
That's it. You know, hell, I did a mainline video for replacing a pin on the USB 3.0 header on a really expensive board, and that wasn't just because it was an expensive board. That was also just showing you that a broken pin on a header isn't game over.
Yeah.
You know, this can be approached, and it's not even that difficult to approach it. So yeah. Any truth to the rumours that Caradog will be on Rogue Traders next week?
What's rogue about that activity? I am providing them not only with the computer, but a free keyboard and mouse.
It's got a built-in receiver, integrated.
It has integrated, unifying Logitech devices.
Magic.
Find me another pre-built with integrated Logitech unifying capabilities. See?
John asks, what is a good way to learn board level troubleshooting? Honestly, watching a lot of YouTube about board repair. That's how I learnt it. On my bucket list is to remake the Board Repair Basics series, which is designed to be an entry point. But that's a when I get around to it thing. But yeah, like there are some cracking channels out there. Northwest Repair. In fairness, while I don't always agree with Soren, Soren's channel, Electronics Repair School, there is a lot of good diagnostic work there that's worth paying attention to. His repair jobs are scruffy, but his diagnostic is sound. Then obviously, I do board repair stuff as well. There's a bunch of other people as well. So yeah, just look out for good repair channels and you just gotta binge their content and you'll start picking it up. In my AM4 build, I put in a cheap PCI USB card to minimize use on my current USB ports. I mean,
why?
Who are you preserving it for? That's kind of like leaving the cellophane on the product, in my opinion. Like, just don't break your USB ports, man.
Hey! It posted. The 3800 XT isn't completely potato.
No, but again, that's a hit and miss thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it won't boot anything. So yeah, It's a case of sometimes it'll work, but yeah, that 5700G is more reliable for a post-test CPU. Yeah. Why is there no B840 chipset drivers on AMD's website?
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have thought there would be. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I am not AMD.
Yeah. Is there a beep speaker on the motherboard? There is not, because we don't need it at the moment. Parts People are a great board repair channel. They mainly do Dells. Oh yeah, that got linked in the Discord earlier on today. Yeah. Right, so we are now on the 5800X3D, which is the suspect bad chip. So we're expecting a no post here. I see the CPU fans changing speed though. Yeah, it posted. Look at it go.
There we go.
Okay, that's interesting.
And it's a 5700X3D.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Should we lob the SSD in there and just like
So now
just
that
confidence
that's posted,
test? I vote we put the SSD in there, boot into Windows, and confidence
do you
test
have a
it.
doodad? Because you're missing your standoff.
Oh.
Do you have an object for crimes? Such as a lump of blue tack.
Yeah, we can do crimes. Yeah, we can do a little crime as a treat. We'll use official tape. So here's some Captain tape. If you Captain tape it down, it's not a bodge. That's a factory finish.
Ooh. Whose factories? Nvidia's?
I say after criticising Soren for sketchy repair.
This is not a repair. This is simply test bench facilitating.
Fake Captain tape. Well spotted, Joho. I've got real Captain tape, but no, I'm using the crap stuff for this one. The X means this is the crap stuff. Yeah, I do. I got some new stuff.
Is it real?
Yeah, it is.
Do you know it's real?
I think so.
Does it come with a certificate of authenticity?
Where's your certificate of authenticity?
For my what?
For you?
Oh no, I'm not authentic. I'm a lie.
All right, there we go. That'll do. It ain't gonna fall out.
There you go.
Probably.
Maybe.
Why keep it? So then I don't have to use the nice stuff.
When doing really silly stuff like this, which would be a complete waste of nice tape.
If I don't actually need it to be heat resistant, then I'll use the cheap stuff. Proper calibrated Captain tape. You know what? I don't like all of Soren's catchphrases, but the proper calibrated catchphrase is kind of funny.
Oh look, it posted again.
Yeah. I wish he would not do proper calibrated fuses, which are solder blobs, which is what that catchphrase actually means. Yeah. That's why I have beef with Soren. However...
No.
Yeah.
No.
But
no,
proper calibrated Captain tape is funny. I'll allow it.
Yes. What the hell is... Oh, Western Digital. SM520 or something. Yes, that's fine.
So yes.
Please boot from the...
No hot glue. No, hot glue is illegal. Most of the time. I use hot glue sometimes. Whatever.
Excuse me, filled with glitter.
Yeah. All right, FTPM warning.
Warning. You have FTM.
Good.
Please confirm you wish to continue using the FTM.
I want a drink. I'm going to bust out a cider.
I'm going to bust a groove.
Is my groove. I'm also slightly chilly, so I could put on my jacket, but then I've got to figure out where to put my microphone.
Yes.
Also, but seriously, so this CPU seems to work. Yeah, we'll do a confidence test on it to make sure it just doesn't immediately crumble and die when you hit it with a load.
Yeah.
But this suddenly makes this a lot more interesting, because if it works now, why the hell isn't it working in the MSI board? We did BIOS update the MSI, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Whack.
Yes. See? There we go.
We have a mystery on our hands, folks. I was not expecting this mystery.
Hardware info.
Where do get the good Captain tape? I always feel they'll sell one for more. So the most recent stuff I got. Shush. Okay, let me read the question. Joho asks, where do get the good Captain tape? I always fear they sell the fake one for more money.
Oh, okay. No, the question was actually the words.
Yes, as well. Either way, where do we find good Captain tape? Well, actually, the last stuff I bought was actually on Amazon, and it was fine. But to be honest, I think it's kind of luck of the draw. This is the only time I bought crap stuff. The other stuff I've bought has always been good. But also, it's not expensive, so just buy a roll, hit it with a bit of hot air and see how it behaves. And if it scrungles up into a scrungly king, then you've got crap stuff. Whereas if it doesn't scrungle up into a scrungly king, then you've got actual Captain tape.
And also, I would imagine if it does do that, and you can be bothered, you just go back to the seller and say, hey, this is crap, give me a full refund.
Yeah, because you got it on Amazon. So yeah, that's also legit.
Same with eBay if you're, in the UK or Europe.
If you can be asked, yeah, for the sake of a £2 roll of tape, sure. Yeah. 5700 X3D not liking the RAM placement, maybe. Did you try the RAM in actual correct slots?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
I replaced it when I put the customer's RAM back in there.
Fair, yeah.
After we confirmed it post with the 5700G.
Yeah.
Engage tornado mode because there is 0 thermal transfer.
Yeah, we've got a perch CPU cooler, so it's not uncooled, but it's not certainly getting proper cooling. However, it is not immediately buckling and falling over, so yeah, it looks like we're pretty good.
It's definitely not completely dead.
Yeah. Cool.
That's wild.
What, how high the score is versus other stuff?
Kind of, compared with like the Threadripper 1950.
Yeah.
Just kind of, well, sure, it's 3,000 point different, but you could probably make that up with actually having some cooling on there.
Yeah, and also it's got half the core and thread count. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, though, Threadripper first gen wasn't exactly devastatingly good. It was fine, wasn't it? Was my understanding.
It was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly wasn't.
The subsequent ones have been far better. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. All right then.
Swap us back.
Very good. We are returning to Facecam. Caradog's going to swap out the motherboards again, and
Cronk.
yeah, I'm going to
Crack open.
yeah.
It's a can of cider.
Let's see. I'm going to have some classy stuff, I think.
I'm going to have some Scrumpton Oaks.
Let's see. We've got Honey's Midford. Honey's Midford. Honey's Midford.
I guess we're having Honey's Midford.
I was going to say, this might be a crate of Honey's Midford. Oh, that's a slightly different Honey's Midford. What are you?
I guess
that's a 5.9. So that's a 5.9. That one's a 5.9 as well. It's a different label, but it looks like the same thing.
We should grab 2 of the same bottle for maximum confusion.
Yeah. And then there's one more of the Stony Bonks left.
Okay.
If you want a Stony Bonk.
No. We'll have I'll take the one
Fair
that
enough.
we have 3 of.
They're getting oak aged. They've got dust on them.
Okay.
All right, over there.
That's now my attachment device.
Oh, I see. Right. Let's see.
So,
what are the wattage specs of the 2 CPUs? Yeah, maybe
0 and almost 0.
Yeah. 5700G is probably a 95 watts, and the 50.
It's a 60.
Is it a 65?
Both either 65 or 88.
Yeah, yeah. They're not. Yeah, they're not. They're not super thirsty CPUs. We can check the power rating. Yeah, I wouldn't expect it. Like, if there was an issue with the CPU VRMs, I would not expect the 50. I mean, I guess we could stick the 5700G in there and hit it with a load and see if it falls over. Because the 5700G, it does work as long as you load it down, is what we discovered. It just doesn't idle, is the problem with it. So, so that is something that is a test we could run while exploring this. That was not on the keychain. So yeah, 5700X3D can get up to 110 on all cores. Yeah, yeah.
But that's not post.
No. Let's see.
So, oh, it's there. I was like, so, can you actually see where the CPU is?
Oh,
Where's
right,
the CPU gone?
Taped to the side of the power supply, yeah. Let's see. Also, I saw a chat that I was going to read out just then. Where was it? Oh, I saw. Oh, yeah, RAM compatibility. Yeah, DefGamer says maybe RAM compatibility, and that's not a bad shout because we have tried 2 identical RAM kits, but we have also got a spare RAM one there, so we could try that. It might. I don't think that's what's going on because it's not getting stuck on RAM training. It's not getting past CPU detect. So I don't think it's RAM. However, that is a thing that we can check for as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it's basically failing as soon as it tries to do anything.
Would you like the Honey's Midford Cider with a Sparkle made in Bath, Somerset, or the Honey's Midford Cider with a Sparkle made in Bath, Somerset? This one has slightly more sediment in it.
Let's read the descriptions. Medium dry cider with a sparkle from apples milled, pressed and fermented on a farm in Midford near Bath.
I should have shaken this up first. We make our cider with classic West Country apple varieties using traditional methods on the family farm overlooked by our own orchards. This is a real cider made from freshly pressed apples. It's also available as a good old-fashioned still cider in bottles, boxes or barrels.
Ooh,
Please visit honeycider.co.uk for more details.
Ooh.
We hope you enjoy drinking our cider as much as we enjoy making it.
Still. What is...
Yeah,
what is
I think this one is slightly less filtered because it's got some more sediment at the bottom, maybe.
Unfiltered medium dry cider with a sparkle. Yes.
Okay, look, that was the bit that we needed to read. All right. Okay, do you prefer the unfiltered then?
I'm going to have the unfiltered.
All right, well, I didn't even want the unfiltered.
You asked me which one I wanted. So you can't be unhappy with me making a decision after you asked me to make a decision.
Make a choice! Oh my god! Okay, right. Anyway.
Right.
Ooh, that is very bright.
Right. Ah! We have the graphics card power,
Graphics.
the motherboard power, the CPU with the CPU power, and the RAM stick. Good. We now require the power.
I was waiting to see if you were going to try and turn it on without the cord plugged in, and I was going to laugh at you.
The power. I have the power. I have the energy.
I think we should stop using that until I've remade it. The button widget, all of the wire, like the reset button is being held on by 2 strands of the wire. It needs to be resoldered. I think we should just screwdriver it. Although, to be honest, if you short all of that nonsense out, I don't think you're going to damage anything. It just won't work.
Also, it's immediately gone onto the CPU light, which it didn't do with any of the other CPUs.
Yeah, are we on the 50? Are we on the X3D?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because like CPU detect happens real fast. You should not be you should. The CPU light, if you see it at all, it should flash for a moment and then move on. You know. it's normal to get stuck on DRAM because that's RAM training, but you should not be seeing a CPU light for more than a split second, realistically. That's weird, man.
Can you check the website for this MSI board and explicitly confirm that it mentions the 5700X3D?
Yeah, I think we looked it up.
I'm pretty
but
sure
let's
we've
check
done
it.
this, but like...
Yeah, like just to be
What?
certain, it's actually on the list, right?
Yeah.
I can't see a world. Whoops! I can't see a world where it does not support it. But let's actually make sure. Because, like, yeah, support, drives and downloads.
Go up, down.
Huh?
Change from drivers and downloads.
Oh yeah, to compatibility. There we go.
And then just search in the box. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I searched for it. Yeah. Apply.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is compatible, and this is compatible as of BIOS version ending in AD, and we have updated past that. And it's a 105 watt CPU, just to answer that question.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could. Yeah, I mean, we could drop it to the AD BIOS revision specifically. I don't understand why that would matter when we're on a newer version of that, but like, if anyone else has got any bright ideas, I'm open to ideas, because we know the CPU works in another motherboard, and another CPU works in this motherboard. So what the hell? Yeah, I vote we stick the.
It's certainly seemingly like power cycling or something, because the fan on the GPU is twitching, not doing anything for a while. Then is twitching. Then it's not doing anything for a while.
Yeah.
So it's certainly doing something.
Yeah, I vote we stick the 5700G back in there, boot it up and hit it with a load, and make sure that the motherboard is not an unstable mess. Because also, like, going on the CPU power theory, if the 5700G is unstable under load, then that would certainly suggest that we've got. That would certainly suggest that there might be issues with power delivery. Again, I can't see a world where it would, like, power on if there's issues with the CPU VRM, but, like, you know.
I can't see where it would power on and power a different CPU.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I've got no other ideas at the moment. Yeah.
I have the
Osama
secret.
says clear the BIOS.
I have, but
Okay, yeah, we have. Yeah, fair enough.
I'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again just for posterity. Like, again, I can't see a world where that's going to make a difference. But if
I have cleared it, yeah.
But if it's not what you think it is, it has to be something that you don't think it is. So,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Try with both CPUs. Both of our test boards are single 8-pin inputs. So no. It is not a lack of EPS connectors, which shouldn't matter on basically any AMD CPU.
Well, any CPU, basically.
I
for the
mean,
consumer space. It's only going to be the Threadripper and so on.
Intel would like a word, yeah.
That's still only 400 watts. And the connectors are good for 380 something. So
yeah, so again, you know, if you've got up to 400 watts, you kind of don't want to be on a single cable at that point.
Right, but you'd have to be on a maximum all-core load. That wouldn't be post.
Yeah, certainly for post, yeah, agreed, yeah. I'm just saying on principle, if you're running a top-end Intel CPU, you should have a second EPS cable plugged in.
Yeah.
Just because if it wants to suddenly just blast past 350 to 380 for a moment while it's boosting or something like that, it's probably not going to sustain that in any useful world, but still.
Yeah.
However, yeah, that doesn't apply here, which is the important thing. All right, Chewie, punch it. That was my Harrison Ford voice. Date in the BIOS. Oh my god, flashbacks. I come for reals. What's going on? So, to update everyone, we're testing a 5700X3D in a B550 motherboard, and it won't post. We're stuck on CPU LED. A different CPU works in this motherboard. However, the CPU works in a different motherboard. So we've got a known good motherboard and a known good CPU, but they won't work together.
And this motherboard and the other motherboard are both on BIOS versions that should support the CPU.
Yeah. So we're currently theorizing that there might be like maybe a power delivery issue, and the board is having issues with power delivery to a slightly thirstier chip. But we're grasping at straws here at the moment. Yeah, that ain't gonna go. Let's stick the G back in there, hit it with a load, and see if the motherboard falls over when you actually try and do something with it. I'm gonna grab the heater because I'm cold.
I was gonna say, if we're gonna do that, may I have a small splodge of thermal paste?
Just a tiny spludge. You may.
Thanks.
But
Thanks.
personal heater.
I'll be your personal heater.
Later. Right.
It'll cost you.
Clearly cursed. You need a priest.
Ha!
Help me.
Boom, boom, boom.
Why not get a voltmeter on the CPU inductors, see what's getting? Because that's not going to tell you anything. I mean, I guess we could check if we have CPU vCore, I suppose, but we could start looking at that next time we try it. Maybe. I'm just not sure what we're actually going to get from that. I guess we can check to see if we actually have vCore, but again, I don't know what conclusion we could possibly get from that. I don't know what that would tell us. You know, like, let's say we measure it and we see 1.4 volts. Okay, so what? What does that mean? You know?
Yeah, because that's what it should do.
Yeah. That personal heater looks like a PlayStation. It does. Probably makes about the same amount of heat as a PlayStation as well. Try the spare RAM from B450. We're using known good RAM at the moment.
I've also used it. I've already done
Yeah,
it.
we've tested with alternate RAM as well.
Yeah.
Right, let's go back to capture with face. So yeah, we're going to boot back into Windows with a 5700G now, and we're going to hit it with a load and see if the motherboard has difficulty when actually providing load power to the CPU. This CPU is a bit dodgy and will crash on idle, but if you keep it loaded down, then it's fine.
Damn it.
What were you going for then?
BIOS.
For what?
Because I was gonna just because if you remember last time when we just locked the voltage,
Oh,
it
I
stopped
see,
it
yeah.
freezing.
Maybe,
So I was just
yeah.
gonna lock the voltage off.
Yeah, we'll see how far it gets.
But yeah.
When you run the CPU in a different board, have you checked that the other board isn't pushing a huge voltage or something stupid to get it to go?
Oh, we don't actually have the full.
We saw normal
Set
voltages,
on there.
just 1.4-ish. That's a strong start there. Oh,
I can't remember which copy of Cinebench is broken.
yeah, me either.
We need to replace what's on this SSD, really.
Yeah.
We should clone the one that's in that board at the moment.
Yeah. I love it when known good test hardware is actually known wonky, but predictably wonky. That's the best kind of test hardware.
Also, let's just actually put that back on the CPU.
I wonder if I could build some kind of jig for this, where you can still perch it, but like it's in a jig that sits in the hold, so it holds it straight, or something like that.
Yeah.
You can never accidentally sell the test hardware that way. Yeah, actually agreed, Si. The best test screens are the ones where you've got just a black bar on the screen, because then you're not going to be tempted to sell it to anyone because it's faulty, but it's a perfectly good test screen. Are CPUs from AliExpress also having a 5-year warranty? Probably not, but...
Oh, there you go, it's locked up.
Yeah, it's just because it came off load, didn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could lock the voltage if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we kind of want to give it a couple more cycles than that. I'm not sure what we're proving here, but yeah. Have we got an exposed V-core inductor? We have. I'll rig it up and check it. Again, I'm not sure what conclusions we can draw from this, but I'll get the numbers anyway. Like, I have no idea what the problem is here, so, you know, if people have got suggestions, then sure, we'll check it. Right.
Oh, that would probably be helpful. There you go.
-12. Okay, so that's ground. Okay, so I'm going to poke V-core. I'm trying to see if I can poke V-core without shorting it out. Okay, so V-core by the meter is 1.463.
Which is about right, because that's what that was reporting.
And the, BIOS is 1.462, 1.464. So yeah, BIOS reporting is on point. So yeah. Cool. All right. So cool. So we're going to we're just going to manually lock off the power settings on this CPU, and we'll check that again under load, and. So yeah, XMP. We don't super care about XMP right now because we're not interested in performance, and yeah, we're not looking for XMP at the moment. Like, we can't get the CPU to boot. We're miles away from trying to get XMP running at the moment. I mean, you could dial something in if you wanted, which Caradog has dialed something in. So yeah, sure.
We'll see what that does.
If this wasn't a stream for fun and stuff, I'd just get both parts swapped under warranty and sleep tight. Yeah, I didn't check with the customer what the story behind. Like, I don't know if these are new parts or what. I don't actually know what the history on these is.
It'd certainly be nice if they can.
Yeah, mainly because I didn't ask for enough information, because from the outset it seemed like a very open shut case of this motherboard needs a BIOS update. But it looks like it's actually a far more, the actual fault seems to be far different. Right, what did you dial in?
I'm just going to leave this idling and see if it crashes, because we know it happens reasonably fast.
Yeah, if it's going to crash, it'll do it within 30 seconds. So if we can get to 60 seconds, we're good, basically.
Yeah,
so
I've locked it off at 4.5.
Yeah.
With a V-core of 1.35.
Cool.
And then I've loaded RAM at 4000 with F-clock at 2000.
Very well.
Which it just does, because it's a 5700G and they actually have the good memory controllers.
Ironically, yeah. Very well. Time in BIOS is wrong. Do not care.
The date is a valid date, though.
Yeah, it's as long as it's not the year 4000 like it was on that Bizarro motherboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This doesn't have Wi-Fi, does it? No.
No. Yeah. Like, for the record, there was that one time where an incorrect date was causing problems, but that's because the date was actually an invalid number. Not because, if the motherboard thinks it's Thursday the 20th when it ain't, that's not something we're super bothered about.
Yeah, there you go. We hit 1:20.
Cool. All right, let's bash it over the head with Cinebench then, and make sure that's good.
Yeah. Right. Test.
Isn't that RAM speed way over the X3D's memory controller limits? possibly, you're probably, like, this is 4400 RAM, and you're probably not going to get a X3D to 4400, no. However,
you'll get 2000 in one-to-one on, the top 10%.
But also, we're not trying to, like, apart
this is
from
a
now...
5700G.
Yeah. Also, though, like, apart from now, we've been aiming for 2133 non-XMP. So, yeah, we're not trying for fast RAM speeds at the moment.
Oh, have you got a... Has that got Type-C on the back of it?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Good enough.
Might not work. Oh, there we go. Hey.
Editing and cleaning up, so not taking it all in. Yeah, that's fair, that's fair.
Okay, thanks Windows. I started dragging the file to drag and drop it to the desktop, and it just stopped instead.
Understandable.
There you go.
Yeah. Thanks, rando cheap SSD that we use for benching.
Also, it's doing this whilst running Cinebench in the background.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't seem to have an issue with load.
Yeah.
Because Cinebench is crunching away in the background, and we're doing a data transfer, and it doesn't seem to have any issues. So.
But I'm also just copying the actual bench folder onto there that's actually useful.
Yeah.
So this SSD is somewhat more useful.
Fair. Yeah.
So I'll tidy up the desktop in a second.
Yeah. I mean, this one, that one's my Ghost Spectre copy, and I use it for just confidence testing customer computers. So yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's just the fact of like we've got 2 or 3 broken copies of Cinebench on here and a broken copy of hardware info and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just going to delete those folders and leave the working copies.
We're here, yeah. Try booting with no USB at all in use.
I mean, if it can't use USB, it's broken.
Yeah.
Therefore, it needs to be replaced.
True. However, but if it worked with no USB, then we've diagnosed a fault. So, to that extent, that might be interesting. So, we shall consider this. So we'll finish this data transfer, and then I think at that point we'll switch back to the X3D and start trying for that one again, because we seem to have proven the motherboard doesn't seem to be faulty at face value.
Yeah, it's just weirdly not compatible.
What we'll do is we'll stick the X3D back in, and we'll check vCore and just see if it's actually getting vCore.
What's the X3D standard boost again?
No idea.
Is it 4.8 as well?
The 5700 X3D is a touch slower. Although
it's 4.1. Holy shit.
I thought the max boost was the same, but the base clock is slightly lower on the 5700 X3D.
The Amazon listing at least says it's 4.1 for boost, which seems approximately 500 megahertz too low.
Yeah. There's a chip on the side of this chip.
Yeah. But also, interesting, 5700 X3D off of Amazon is 243 quid. That's pretty good going.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.1 apparently. That's crazy low. I didn't realise it was all the way down there.
Yeah.
Just only because
clock speed ain't what make these fast, though.
I mean,
it helps obviously, but it's that big old 3D V cache that makes them competitive.
Yeah.
Good.
That's still going.
Yeah, we'll give that one more cycle and then we'll shut it down. They nerfed the performance not to eat the 5800X3D market. Yeah, but it's only a small difference. You know, it's like what 10% or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I seem to remember that the distance is it's like 10%, and the 5800X3D is generally a good sort of £80 more expensive, I think.
Yeah, whatever the performance difference was, if the performance difference was 10%, the price difference was 20%.
Yeah. The 5700X3D is much better value for money.
Yeah.
The 5800X3D is expensive enough that it's just like you could probably get an AM5 set up with like a 7500F for this kind of money. And I know you're not going to have an X3D CPU, but you are going to be on AM5, which means you're actually future-proofed. Whereas AM4, with the best will in the world, is a dead end.
Yeah.
You know, it's still got competitive. You know, the 57 and the 5800X3D are good CPUs, but also that's the fastest chip that an AM4 board is ever going to run. So, you don't really want to buy a motherboard where you're putting in the fastest chip. You want to buy the motherboard where you're putting in a low-end CPU and you're going to have the next probably 6 years of upgrade headroom. So yeah. Groovy. Is it worth just doing a BIOS reset before we swap chips? Or are you going to put in some super safe settings?
Because I'm actually going to lock this off
at
a fixed voltage and frequency.
Okay, yeah.
And see if that does something.
Yep, fair enough.
Because we're trying to make this
true.
function.
We know when we put the X3D in there, it's not going to work. So we may as well put some settings in now. You're right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just wait for that to complete post.
And also, yes, the pins on this guy are all good. There is the slightest chip on the edge of it, but yeah. However, I can't see a world where that is doing any
actual harm.
Yeah, I do not see a world where that's causing any damage whatsoever. So,
give me your thermal paste.
Ah yes, future-proof. My rig is immune to the future.
Oh, not future-proof as in the amount of alcohol this will contain in the future. It's future-proof.
And yeah, future-proof is a dangerous term, but that's slightly wonky.
I will
if you just want to
move that in a second.
However, yeah, at the end of the day, for the time being, we can objectively say that AM4 is not future-proof. Some slightly wonky pins?
Yeah, apparently. Oh, no.
No, there it goes.
No, I'm just...
Skill issue.
I'm apparently completely inept.
Yeah. Won't the settings get invalidated when you change the CPU? Not necessarily.
Let's just smush some thermal paste around on there. There we go.
I'm not sure, actually.
Good.
At the very least, I think it will try. I think it will try for all the settings that we dialed in.
Yeah.
Right, so oh, okay, CPU light went out. What's it doing? Is power cycling?
No, it's just turned off.
No, it just turned off, yeah. We should check if that... I do not trust those power buttons right now. I think you should take that out and just screwdriver it. Yeah, when you touched it, it powered on again, so, yeah.
No, it
okay,
just did
so
the
we're on
same thing
CPU
it did
light.
last time. It just flicked the...
I'm just going to lean in and check the...
I think it should be 1.35.
Yeah, well, let's just see if we've got anything, I guess.
Yeah.
We've got 1 volt at CPU vCore.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing. 1 volt, that sounds very low, but also the thing is that I don't know if that is the post voltage, like to initialize the CPU and then it kicks up to high voltage. And the issue is that we can't check the other CPU because it's going to blow through that section of post in a fraction of a second. So we can't actually compare that without an oscilloscope.
Maybe.
So yeah, try it with the CPU out to confirm. I'm guessing we're going to get no vCore with no CPU. I mean, sure, let's... You know what? Let's try it. Take the CPU. Let's take the CPU out and start it with no CPU and see what the vCore is at. I'm not convinced about this, but I will entertain the theory because I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay. All right, no CPU. Power supply is on. And if you could screwdriver it for me.
Is there 0 volts at the moment?
Yeah, so right now with the system off, we are at 0 volts. And now we're at 1.1. I think it was slightly lower than that previously, but yeah. I thought it was a little bit lower than that with the other chip, but again, even if it was 1.0, even if it was 1.1 volt flat, and now we're at 1.1, I don't see what that would mean. I don't see what that tells us. This motherboard is an MSI B550A Pro.
Where were you probing?
I was probing the back of one of the vCore inductors.
There you go. So it should be 0.
0.
What?
Are you stabbing blindly?
Hold on.
Power supply's off.
That's why I stabbed in a
There we
different
go.
location. I was like, am I in the wrong place?
Yep. Oh. Nah, it's giving
1.0.
1.096, so 1.1 basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now it's posted. And now it's at 1.4.
Oh.
There you go. So once it completes post, it does go up.
Is this the G?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes into the I'm operating.
Now it's
swings.
going into variable voltage.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. For a minute, I was like, "Wait, it's working? Why?" But no, that was with a good CPU. Fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Might have an open FET. No, well, it's not gonna run Cinebench with an open FET. So yeah, it works with another CPU in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Weirdness. Yeah, basically, I'd be telling the client to get them refunded if they can.
Yeah, I mean...
And try again.
I would say change the motherboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously try and get both refunded and replaced. And
I guess for good measure.
That way you have neither of the parts that don't work together.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a safe bet. Either way, yeah, I don't think we can do anything else here. That's bizarre, though.
Yeah, weird.
CPU works, motherboard works, but they won't work together.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, whack. So, yeah, I guess we just... Yeah, I'll chat with the customer and I'll tell them what our findings are. Either way, yeah, it appears that we cannot make this CPU and this motherboard work together. They just don't want to.
Yeah.
Maybe try it again and give it more time. You know what? Sure. Let's put it in there and let's leave it for like 10 minutes. Let's leave it for an unreasonable amount of time and make sure that it doesn't post. Also, I guess we could drop to a lower BIOS revision, like go down to AD, which was the minimum required. So, yeah.
Which one are we doing?
Put the G back in. Let's drop the BIOS version. We'll do both, basically. We'll put in the old BIOS revision, and then we'll leave it for 10 minutes and see what it does. I can't see a world where any of that is going to work. However, I say this often, but it bears repeating. When you're going to tell someone that their stuff is broken and that they should replace it, you kind of want to be damn well sure.
I mean, I'm sure. Because it doesn't post. It doesn't work together.
Let's humour chat.
If you want to use this motherboard, you're going to need a different CPU. If you wish to use this CPU, you're going to need a different motherboard.
Use the beta BIOS? No. I can't see a world where a newer BIOS is going to fix this.
If you scroll to the bottom, does it not have like a go to that BIOS version? No.
Not on that one.
Whack. Okay.
If I maximize this, it does, I think. No, it doesn't. Nope.
Just go back several times.
Yeah, that's fine. We're here now. So let's get a version ending in AD.
Yeah.
Delete the other one just to avoid confusion. Whoop. Round we go. Whoop. Yeah, I don't see a world where any of this is going to make a difference, but yeah, we'll try it for good measure. Microscope CPU and socket. It works with another CPU. I've checked the bottom of the CPU, and the CPU works in another motherboard. It cannot be a physical thing. What's cheaper, the CPU or the motherboard? Definitely the motherboard.
It also depends on whether either of them are new, because if they're both new, just return both of them.
Yeah. We do. The missing bit of information at this point now is just saying to the customer, have you just bought this stuff, or, you know, was this an existing, like because he's got a no, he can't have been using the 2400G with it because it doesn't work.
It would have never have worked.
I was about to say that he's upgrading to this CPU, but yeah.
Maybe you bought the 2200G to update this or something.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, either way, yeah, I'd have to ask the customer for more information.
Enter flash mode.
Right, so we're going to drop down to version AD. So this is an older BIOS. This was the first revision where the X3D was compatible. So yeah, essentially what we're aiming for here is just simply a different BIOS version.
Yeah.
And I can't see a world where this is going to matter, but at least we can say we tried it. Do you have any other AMD? Yes, we've been changing the CPU constantly through this entire stream.
I swear.
We didn't do the ceremonial things to appease the boot gods. It's true. I mean, one more other. I mean, we've got the 3800 XT, which we did see boot, but like, what are you expecting to see from that? I guess we could throw the 3800 XT in this just to see if that one works as well, because if we do get a post out of that, that would be a higher power CPU that has posted, because that 3800 XT, that's got to be looking for 100 watts, hasn't it?
Maybe.
So, like, again,
Sure. I still don't know what point is attempting to be made.
No, I don't know what that.
I don't know what point is trying to be made.
I guess we're still chasing the concept that the motherboard is having issues powering a higher power CPU, but I find that extremely difficult to believe. But I guess at this point,
either way, we've already worked out that one or both of the parts are faulty,
yeah,
so
it doesn't
they need to be replaced.
Yeah, it doesn't change the outcome, but you know, if we're throwing stuff at the wall, then sure.
What? CPU's hot at 87 Fahrenheit. No, it's 31 Celsius. That's...
Yeah, 31C, 87 Fahrenheit.
They're good up to 105 Celsius, which is, what, 230 Fahrenheit?
Yeah, you're looking at the wrong number there.
200. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yes, 240 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Just looking at the wrong number.
That one's too hot.
Just remember, I can't remember where it came up recently, but just the short we did where we did the thermal paste hot swap. That was very funny. Yeah. Yeah, we'll try this. We'll try the 3800 XT just to humour chat.
What was the other thing we were going to look at? The keyboard.
Yes,
And-
then we'll just get the keyboard out and start having a look at that, I think.
Yes.
Because the keyboard has a spicy pillow in it, and I thought it would be fun to have a look at that and just see if it's possible to replace it.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's the newer one.
Yeah,
it's integrated. It's not the AAA cell one.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I wasn't sure which one it was.
Yeah, so I think this is the Magic keyboard. It's the Apple Magic keyboard. These things are annoyingly expensive, even secondhand. The bottom is the customer's like, oh, the bottom is bulging and it keeps wobbling, and I'm like, that's a swollen lipo cell that's pushing that out. So no, you should stop using this. And I said, yeah, I'll take the back off, because like that might be a cell that I can just replace. I might be able to just steal a cell from one of the many laptop batteries I've got and just jam that in there or something like that. And I was like, that might be a fun little fix. Not because it's economically viable, but just for the sake of, hey, look, we fixed a thing, you know. So, yeah. Are you still using yards in the UK? No, I don't think. The only thing that's measured in yards is distance to the junction on the motorway. Like when you see the 321 signs, that's 300 yards, 200 yards, 100 yards. That's the only time I see yards used in any official sense.
And ale sold by the yard.
What?
Yes.
Elaborate.
Ale sold by the yard.
What, like a barrel that is a yard tall?
No, a yard of ale.
Is that the name of a certain size of keg?
It's a measurement.
Oh, what, like you buy a tall tube that's a yard long? Yeah. Okay, right.
Yeah. Look, do the internet search.
I'm gonna put it onto a useful face cam first. All right. Yard of ale. It's got a Wikipedia entry, so it must be real. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's one of those things with a tall glass with the ball at the bottom. And okay, fine. Yeah, but that's a meme. You know, that's not a real
What do you mean
thing.
it's a meme. It's not a real thing. There was a man in a photograph holding one.
Yeah, but you know. Do you know how long a yard is?
Yes.
How long is a yard?
That.
I see. Scotland Yard, yeah. There's specifically a spot in the centre of London where a single yard square of land technically belongs to a Scottish lord, or laird as they're sometimes known.
A Larry Scotland. A Larry Scotland.
What are you doing?
Pushing this out of the way. Because you said you wanted to leave it for 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay. Whilst we're waiting on that, we can do something.
Yeah, I mean like powered on, sitting on the CPU LED.
Yeah. That's what I'm about to do.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just moving it out of the way.
I thought we were going to banter for 10 minutes or something.
No.
Have excellent banter.
What's...
I'm just going to check who this is that's just pulled up. Is that himself?
There we go.
Oh, it is. All right.
Ah, very well. You may wish to unlatch the latch.
Yes. Could you mute me for a sec?
Permit the entries. No, IO. You are now muted. Goodbye. Beep boop. Beep boop. There you go. Lord of the Yard. I'm just cleaning up the thermal paste I have approximately spread across the bench. There you go. So it's now plugged in, it's sat there, it's waiting. We'll see if it does anything at all. My answer is no, but we shall see. We shall see. It's a proxy table? What?
You can unmute me.
Ah. You have been unmuted.
Welcome back, everyone. I mean, me. Okay.
Where are you? Where did you go?
Where are you?
Oh, there you are.
I'm so sorry. Ah, yes. The keyboard.
Yes.
With the okay, yeah. Right. Are we going to get bench cam for this?
Okay.
I mean, that was a question. It wasn't an expectation. All right.
We require all the camera angles just in case it catches fire.
I mean, that would be... I'd want that on multiple camera angles, quite frankly. But think of the YouTube shot of it going... You know.
Cracking content, Graham.
This is excellent banter. Okay, right, let's start. I'll wait for him to plug it in. Hold on.
Get in the hole.
And Insta360 link controller. Right, turn off preview. Let's see, bench cam with face. Reactivate. Yeah. Hi, rubbish section of the shop. Yeah.
There's nothing here.
I don't need to tidy the shop. You need to tidy the shop. Yeah.
And this, friends, is why you need 3-axis gimbal control. Buy your Insta link from my special affiliate link in the description.
Okay. Right. Good.
Do you think there are screws under those feet?
So as you can see, this spicy pillow, so it doesn't sit flat. I'm gonna try and dig off. I've never taken one of these apart, for the record, so I'm flying completely blind.
I'm making this up as I go along.
Yeah, pretty much. Going to try and remove this foot without breaking it apart. It doesn't...
Do you think it's actually a foot?
I don't know.
I was going to say, just pry in the gap.
Yeah, it might just be glued. Oh, yeah, I think it... I think just pry.
How many times have you stabbed your hand?
Not as often as it looks with what I'm doing right now. Oops, I'm doing damage to this, but also like whatever. This is a death or glory repair. Like we don't really care. Yeah, there's glue here as well. So
flood it with alcohol.
Oops.
Accidentally stabs through the front of the keyboard.
Accidentally stabs through the battery. Explodes in a fireball. Goes viral on YouTube. Doesn't have a watermark on the video. Gets no exposure for it. It's the cum chip all over again.
I don't know if that's the type of exposure you want.
Right. Okay, that I'm butchering.
Yes.
Okay. Heat it up. Yeah, maybe. I'm considering it, but okay, there we go. Right, I found that's not supposed to come up.
Ah.
I'm getting somewhere now. Okay, right, the bottom panel does actually come off on its own, exposing the cell. So yeah, we're getting somewhere. The bit that I was trying to pry up was not supposed to come out yet, so. Also, I'm aware this looks janky as hell, and I keep dropping it and stuff. I'm just going at top speed because YOLO.
Would you like another one?
I was going to say, could you grab me the yellow spatula?
Oh, the big yellow spatula that's really hard to miss.
The big yellow spatula. Yeah, a bit of heat would go a long way here, but I can't be bothered to drag the hot air station over here, so I'm just sending it.
This one's a really thick one, though. That one doesn't look like it would actually snap.
Yeah, these big spatulas, these are great. I don't use it as a primary pry. Like, if I was trying to pry this open, I would just snap the edge off to bits.
Yeah.
But what they're really good for is, like, when you have an opening like this, you can jam this guy in here, and, like, that's just going to hold everything open. That's what I'm actually going for here. Just so I don't lose progress.
Yeah.
Oops.
Whoopsie.
Got to slow down because we're coming back around to where the battery is. The batteries are up the top about here.
Oh, really? Is that it? Huh.
Oh, whoops, I'm underneath the actual keyboard proper there. That's why that doesn't feel good. Damn it. I somehow managed to jump into the wrong position.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's a lot of glue.
Yeah, these things are not intended to come apart in their lifetime.
Christ.
Right, I'm gonna go for a rip.
I'm going to destroy my fingers.
It's very slowly making peeling noises while I'm holding it like this, so. Okay, what's holding me up now? More tape.
More stabbing required.
There's an art to doing this as well, which is just having the reflexes where when it moves suddenly of just releasing tension. This might look really horrendous, but I actually know what I'm doing and there is a theory to what I'm doing.
Do you? Is there?
Caradog, get me the alcohol! And I don't mean cider.
No, oh, that's window and glass. That's also window and glass.
Bench. All right. There we go.
Oh, almost.
Almost. Almost. Almost. There we go.
Jesus.
Whew. Right. I might have avoided killing it.
Do the keys still, actuate? Yes.
Yeah. Doesn't mean they work.
No, but they still actuate.
Yeah.
From a mechanical standpoint, they actuate.
Yes, yes. Okay, right.
That's an unreasonable amount of tape and so on.
Yeah. Again, it's just like, why couldn't you have just put 4 screws under the feet? Have removable feet, put 4 screws under there. Why wouldn't you just do that?
Or just put a line of tape down the middle and a line along the ends.
Oh well. Right. There we go, folks. So there's our battery, and yeah, that's a spicy pillow. It does still work, and it's got a proprietary connector on it because, of course, it does. So
What?
yeah,
Fuck's sake.
yeah. Because why wouldn't you just use a normal LiPo cell? So this is it's a 3 watt-hour cell at 3.76 volt nominal. So 3 watt-hour LiPo, what's that in milliamp hours? That's
1,000.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah. Well,
Or is it 100?
yeah. Someone do the maths on that. What's 3 divided by? Yeah, 3 divided by 3.76.
Is that it? Oh my god, that's so sticky.
Someone who knows the maths do the maths. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, right. I'm going to see if I can pop this guy off.
And by that I mean detach it, not make it.
Right. So that connector is a 4-prong connector. There's no way this has a BMS. There's no way this is a BMS bat cell.
Why not?
Because it's a keyboard. Why would you bother?
Because you're Apple and you need to charge £190 for the keyboard. You have to offer ultimate, supreme charging speed at all times.
Yeah, because you put the charge port on the bottom of it, so it has to charge quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Zing. All right, unfairness, this one, the charge port is on the back, but whatever. Okay, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the camera height down, and we're just going to probe those pins and just check, because that might be 2 positives and 2 negatives or something like that. Just because it's a 4-pin connector doesn't mean there's actually a BMS there. Serialized to the keyboard, yeah.
Oh no.
Oops, sorry.
You have replaced this battery. The serial numbers no longer match.
Yeah, pain. All right, here's the meter. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out the pin out here. So screw hole is going to be ground.
That's where you're wrong. It's plus 3 volts.
Yeah, so we've got ground, ground, and that's probably positive and positive. Let's go to resistance. So we've got ground, 0.06, ground again, yeah. Then we've got 38.2 kilo ohms. And we've got 2.5 mega ohms. So those are not necessarily common. Let's just check that. So these two are, these two are common. These 2 pins, however, are not common. So this is we've got 3 pins here. We've got 2 grounds. So what I'm guessing we've got here is a positive, a negative, and a temperature sensor.
Yeah.
Because a 3-pin LiPo cell with a built-in temp sensor, that's extremely likely. So actually, we could probably figure that out as well. Let's go back into resistance mode. That temp sensor probably has a fairly predictable thing on it. So what we can do, let's just check those. So that one was 87K, and it kind of rose to that. What's that one? 38.2. Right. Chat, I need you to remember 38K. Oh, that's just gone up to mega ohms now.
Oh, there we go.
Extremely
The
high.
battery is sold on AliExpress.
Oh, really? Interesting. For 12 euros. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
Just AliExpress one?
38K and very high. Probably. Right, what I'm going to do now is hold it in front of the heater. Because that temperature sensor resistor will change resistance when it heats up. How do you store spicy pillows? In front of a heater. No, but don't do that. Anywho.
There's a cardboard box full of them just down there.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Spicy pillows aren't that dangerous, so...
Just don't stab them.
I've put some heat into that. Let's just see if the resistance has changed.
38 and 56?
Yeah, 38 and a lot, basically. So that 38...
has gone down to
37.5, yeah. It hasn't warmed up by that much. We might not have put enough heat into that to make a difference. And the very high value, yeah, that's gone up to 80 something. And if I release and touch that again, that's going to go into the mega ohms. Yeah. Okay, I think so. If we're counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 is ground. I'm guessing 3 is going to be the temperature sensor because that would make logical sense, and then 4 is going to be our positive pin. That would be my guess.
Are you measuring the battery?
No, I'm measuring the battery. I'll measure the battery because that's where the actual temperature sensor is. I will not be taking criticism. Oh. Okay, right. I don't know if I can get onto the battery. Actually, those pins are pretty narrow. Let me just see if I can stab in there. Ah. Can I touch you? There we go. Okay, so there's a ground. So then... Okay, like 12.7K. That's the kind of resistance I would expect for a temperature sensor. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Amazon.
And if we go over to voltage, we'll probably find on pin number 4, we should see, there we go, 4.18 volts. That's a typical charged battery voltage. This battery does work. The keyboard works just fine. It's just because it's puffed up, it just wobbles on the desk. So, yeah. All right. I wonder if the keyboard works without a battery, because the customer tells me that they leave it plugged in all the time, which is probably why the cell is puffed up.
I see.
So, like...
What's it connect via? Is it lightning?
Yes, it's a lightning connector.
Also, what?
There was obviously some pen on it somewhere that has leaked out from the alcohol that I sprayed on it. So, yeah. Yeah, 1639 on eBay. So, yeah, this cell is kind of...
out?
Yeah, this is kind of a random size, so... I don't think we're going to be able to find a random replacement, but if there's a cheap one available on eBay, then sure.
Yeah, because I think Marcel said there's one on eBay and AliExpress.
Yeah, I think that's a good response to this. So it's not something I can fix right now because I've got to order one, but yeah. Take a syringe, let the air out, cover the hole up with caps and tape. No.
What?
We do not do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the battery.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I thought they were saying about filling this up with something. Oh, I see. No.
Yeah, it's spicy boy. So,
No. Even I have my limits.
Yeah, you released the gas out of a puffy battery once. It still worked, but I didn't use it again. Yeah, pretty much.
I unintentionally released the gas from a battery once, whilst it was on charge.
Oof. Yeah.
I just heard it from the other side of the room go. I was just like...
See, that's scary because I've seen when a MacBook Pro battery goes spicy pillow like this. So the MacBook Pro, the bottom panel, the bottom cover of the battery is held in with 10 screws that are metal screws into aluminium metal threads. I have seen puffy batteries strip the screws out of those threads, these things can get scary pressurized, you know. So yeah, it's kind of mental, really. So it's not that I expect them to catch fire. It's more the issue of just how much pressure there is there that kind of frightens me. Yeah, and yeah, as Mike Jones has said, sweet chemical smell. If the battery is actually leaking, it smells like sour apple candy. If you smell like sour apple smell from a LiPo, that's the electrolyte you're smelling that has turned into a gas and is leaking out of the cell. And that stuff is hella poisonous, so, you know, don't sniff that. So, yeah. So this isn't going to catch fire, you know. We're not worried about this. This is fine. However, it has failed. It should be replaced. This should not be charged in this condition. That's how you get it into a dangerous position. So, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There's Cider just posted the link. Thanks, folks.
Yeah, which I think was,
Yeah. I'll copy-paste that into another window. Let's look at that just so people can see. So I'll Control-T, Control-V, and let's just go desktop face. There we go. Battery for Apple Magic Keyboard, 800 milliamp hours, 1639. I think that's worth it because, as I say, these keyboards are annoyingly expensive. So yeah,
have you got a lightning cable?
I have. Yeah. Wait, do you want to see if it works without the battery?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because if it works without the battery,
it's on top of the box of USB cables. Left, white cable, top. Yeah, that's the one.
Because if it works, you could tell the client.
Maybe, yeah, I'll give them the option. I'll just say, if you want, I can order a battery for it so it works on battery power. Or if you leave it plugged in all the time anyway, I've taken the battery out of it, so it's now benign.
It's now a banana.
Yeah. Apple puts smells in their batteries. No, that's not an Apple thing. That's just a LiPo thing. They all smell like that.
Scented battery venting.
Okay.
Oh, does it actually work over the lightning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a USB connection.
I assumed it would be wireless only or something because Apple.
Yeah. Right, hold on a sec. Let's go desktop with face. Welcome to this mess, everyone. I'll minimize OBS just so we've not got a mess. Notepad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Sphinx of black quartz. Judge my vow.
Yeah.
What's this called again? A
panagram.
Panagram, yeah. Panagram. That sentence contains every letter of the alphabet.
And is absolutely slightly more efficient than the quick brown.
Yeah, and it's really metal as well. So yeah, or the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. With some errors in it, whatever. Yeah, so the keyboard works just fine. Does it work when I turn the power off? No, the power switch has to be in the on position. So that the power switch isn't a battery thing. That's just a turn on the keyboard thing.
That's kind of cool, though, that it works without it.
Yeah, it totally works without a battery. So, yeah. But then, yeah, it's not a BMS battery. It's just a dumb LiPo cell with a thermal sensor in it. And I think if you have a product with an integrated battery, you're required to have a thermal sensor in it somewhere. If it's not in the battery, it has to be somewhere in the product, just so it has some means of cutting power if it thinks the battery is actually on fire. Although, to be honest, I think once the battery goes into thermal runaway, I think it's a bit too late.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'll talk to the customer. I'll say, if you want, I can stick a new battery in it, or failing that, you can just use it as a wired keyboard. So, yeah. That's kind of neat.
How horrid is this to type on? Or is it literally a MacBook keyboard?
It's a MacBook keyboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't hate them.
That's fine.
Yeah. I've got a Magic Keyboard on the front of house computer, and I don't hate it. The Magic Trackpad is a bit weird. I love the Apple Glass trackpad, but using a trackpad on a desktop computer, I couldn't tell you why, but it just doesn't feel right. Yeah. Yeah. The only reason why I use it is just because at front of house, it's just awkward having a physical mouse there and the trackpad takes up 0 space.
Yeah.
So it's kind of convenient, but it just feels wrong to use. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, if the owner keeps it plugged in, you can turn it just like this. Yeah, this is true. Yeah. So you could replace it even cheaper. Those flat cells are only a few bucks on AliExpress. Yeah, like, oh, could you pass me the calipers that are right there? Bench cam with face. So, you know what? Let's entertain this. So this cell is, so that's near as damn it 30 millimeters wide. That's intended to be 30 millimeters wide with some tolerance, and it is, I'd call that 120.
What is it without the BMS on the end?
Without the protection circuit,
sorry,
yeah.
without the protection
They're generally
circuit.
measured with the protection circuit, I think,
still,
but 170.
it's still 120.
I'd call that 120, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find one. Desktop with face. Let's see. So what size is that going to be? That's going to be what? The thickness is intended to be, I think that's 2 millimeters. So I'd call that, I think that cell is a 201230 battery. Not quite. Let's try 203012. Yeah, not getting any hits. Chat, any guesses as to what this battery size is? Because if we can figure out what the dimension, what the size is supposed to be, we could probably take a guess. Let's see, 201230. Whoops. Go away. Go away. 201230 battery. Oh, there we go. There's an autocorrect. Never mind. 203012. I can never remember if it's width then length or length then width. Yeah. Magic keyboard battery. So there we go. There's these batteries again. Let's see if any of these guys actually list the dimensions of it. No. They sell the battery, but they don't tell you what the dimensions are. Yeah, by the time you've added tax and shipping onto that, you're going to pay the same amount as it was on eBay. Yeah, hypothetically, you could figure out what the actual dimensions are and look it up. But to be honest, for a specialist battery like this, I can't see a world where you're going to find one for, you know, less than 10-ish pounds. So, yeah. How much would one charge for this repair? I'd probably charge like, so repairs like this are what I define as a experimental repair, where I'm doing it not because it's worthwhile, but just I'm curious as to whether it's worth doing and like whether it can actually be done. So I'd probably charge 20 quid, which is just the battery plus, you know, so if the battery is £13 on eBay, I'd make 7 quid or something like that. And again, like that's not a good money maker or good value for money or anything like that. But it saves a keyboard from the scrap heap, and it tells me that these keyboards are theoretically repairable. But also, how much is a replacement keyboard though? Let's go back to eBay a sec. Desktop face, Apple Magic keyboard, AMD. Official. That's got the rounded corners. I think that's the newer version. Second hand, 40 quid. Yeah, 30 or 40 quid. So like, you wouldn't bother repairing these. Yeah, see, Si, you say Graham doesn't like money. I mean, oh, what are you going to charge for this repair? 40 quid? You just buy another one, you know. So, like, it's not economical to repair. However, like, I'm doing this as I accepted this in for repair because I was curious as to if the battery could be replaced, not because I think I'm actually going to make money doing it. I don't think it doesn't take a genius to know that that it wasn't going to be economical to repair, and the answer is you just buy a second-hand one. You sell another one at cost, keep it without bat for yourself. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's what you'd actually do. But you know, as I say, I mean, that much being said, I suppose I could sell another one at cost. I could do that because the Magic Keyboard that I have front of house, the left shift doesn't work on it, which is really annoying. See, now I'm tempted to take the battery out of that and put it in this. But yeah, we'll see.
You tell the person that, oh, did the left shift work on your keyboard?
No. £7 profit, but a wealth of knowledge. It can be done. That's my point, Sleepwalker. That's my point.
Oh, it's funny, the left shift on your keyboard doesn't work very well.
I'm not saying you do this for all your customers, but when you're doing a repair job for the first time, I'll often do it on the cheap because that it's an experimental repair. I'm exploring repair options. I'm seeing what can be done and if it's viable. And if it turns into a viable repair, you know what to expect and how much it costs the next time you see it. Whereas looking at this, we know that this is not a viable repair. So the next time someone comes to me and says, I've got a Magic Keyboard and the battery is busted, you say, go on eBay and buy another one. Just don't even bother, you know. So yeah. What do you even charge if it was just taking the battery out? I mean, we had to maul the back cover off as well. Mind you, there's a more efficient way of doing that, but a customer ain't getting that back cover off. Even with a bit of heat, a customer's not going to succeed in doing that unless they happen to have prying tools and such, you know. So yeah. Charge 20 quid for the part and he'll go for it. You go with eBay, you'll have to charge more and they might not want to. Yeah. I'll have a chat with the customer. Like, I'm going to say to the customer, look, it works without the battery, so if you leave it plugged in all the time anyway, then let's just do that. And they'll probably take that, and I'll say, sure, give me a fiver and I'll buy myself a drink, you know. Because also, the other thing as well is, we've done this on the podcast. This has not cost me meaningful time, and it was content. Are you not entertained? So, yeah. There are some jobs where I'm not doing the job to make money. I'm doing it to explore. So, yeah. Dr. Cider, I'll buy you a drink. It's true, Si, you probably would, and I appreciate you for that. Thanks. Sadly, not all PC guys or repair guys are as honest as Graham. Yeah, not to pat myself on the back or anything, but yeah.
I mean, there's being honest and then there's selling yourself short. True.
However, I don't
consider... it's striking a balance.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think this is selling myself short. As I say, this is like... when this came in, I knew it wasn't going to be an economic fix. But I also knew it would be fun to look at it on the podcast. Yeah. And like, same with this, you know, it's just like... well, no, I don't know, actually. Well, I was about to say we knew that this was just going to be a BIOS update, but actually it wasn't. And if I'd been doing this as an actual repair, it would have turned into a nightmare rabbit hole. But because we're on the podcast, that didn't matter. And so now, you know, I don't need to worry about wasting half a day dicking around with this CPU and motherboard because we did it on the podcast where time isn't a factor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Gain a client. Yeah, maybe. What if someone comes to you with the parts? I mean, sure. Yeah, if someone came to me and said, hey, I bought a new battery for my keyboard, but I can't get the back cover off, I'd say, sure, give me a tenner and I'll rip that back cover off for you. You know. So, yeah. Repair pricing is a nightmare. Too much, you scare them off. Not enough, and you're selling yourself short. Yeah, for real. For real. It's very easy to say you're selling yourself short and stuff like that, but also when you have customers where you'll quote them a very reasonable price and they'll be like, oh no, I don't think I'll bother, and they walk and you lose the job. And sometimes you'll be like, I quoted a fair price, I don't feel bad about that. They walk, so be it. But there are other times where you'll constantly, if you get too many people that are walking, it doesn't matter if it was a reasonable price. If your market is not willing to bear that price, you don't get paid. So you might have to charge below market, below what you're worth in order to get any work at all. And again, it's striking a balance. So yeah, I have enough work that when someone says I'm not willing, I had some kids come in the other day and said, I've got an Xbox Series S with a broken HDMI port, and I said 80 quid, which is extremely reasonable, I think. And they didn't say anything, but I could see the kid was just like, oh, and he was like, okay, thanks, and walked out. And I was like, yeah, he ain't coming back. But bitch, I'm not charging less than 80 quid to replace a HDMI port.
Yeah.
That's half a day's work.
Yeah.
By the time, there's going to be someone out there who can speed run it in half an hour. But by the time I've set it up and sat and done it, it's going to be a couple of hours, and like interruptions from customers and the phone ringing and stuff like that. You're not getting anything else done for half a day while you work on that. That's just the reality of it. So yeah. Mike says, if you want some content, I have an Asus X570 Tough Gaming that powers up but sticks on CPU and DRAM LED. Might need a BIOS recovery reprogramming. I take it you've tried doing BIOS flashback on it, but if you want me to reprogram the BIOS, I'll take a swing at that. Our success rate on the podcast is really low at the moment. But
yeah,
also,
I mean, one of them you reprogrammed it 5 volts instead of 1 point whatever it was.
Maybe. 3.3 volts instead of 1.8. It was fine. It was fine. However, also though,
5-volt V-core.
Yeah,
Extra
those boards were toast anyway. Though, like yeah. If you want me to take a swing at that, Mike, post it in. We'll take a swing at it on the podcast. We'll do it for cost of postage because it's content. So yeah, sure. If you want me to take a swing at that, post it in. We'll do it. We'll do a thing. Collab, bro. Turnip Gaming, thank you for the 5 quid. With a flagship phone battery like the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, should I be more cautious when the battery is swollen? You should be cautious about any swollen battery. As soon as the battery starts going puffy, that battery is done.
It needs to be replaced.
Yeah. These are facts. You do not leak the air out, because also, even if you leak the air out and then see, like someone asked earlier on, leak it and then seal it with Captain tape, and they were being slightly facetious, but also, but what if, so what's going on here is the electrolyte in the battery is vaporizing into gas. It should be a liquid, it is turning into a gas. So if you vent that gas so it's no longer puffy, you've still lost electrolyte out of the battery. That's bad. That means the battery doesn't work properly. And if the battery runs out of electrolyte, it doesn't function. And the other thing you need to consider is that the failure mode of a LiPo battery. A LiPo battery is it's 3 sheets of polymer plastic. You have 2 electrodes and an intermediate layer. The 2 electrodes are coated with lithium stuff. There's actually very little lithium in there, but they're coated with stuff, 1 on each. And then you've got the intermediary layer, and the electrolyte acts as a catalyst. And as you charge and discharge it, ions move between the electrodes through the intermediary layer via the electrolyte. Now, the 2 things are, firstly, if you don't have any electrolyte, it doesn't work properly.
The electrolyte functions like thermal paste.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy, actually. The electrolyte is your thermal paste.
Because it increases the connectivity of the polymer separator and the anode and cathode.
Yeah.
And increases the efficiency of the battery.
Yeah.
And reduces the localization of the charge transfer, meaning that it happens over a larger area, so you get a slower dendrite development.
Yeah, and the other issue, which again you can probably elaborate, because Cowdog actually knows a hell of a lot about batteries because of reasons. If you want to elaborate, you may in a moment.
I mean,
And the other issue as well is that in a failing battery, which is probably going to be exacerbated by a lack of electrolyte, that coating on the electrodes is going to break down. You get speckling on it where the coating is effectively burning off of the battery, and this is making hot spots and losing capacity of the battery because it has less surface area, and surface area is everything. That's why a bigger battery stores more.
Yeah.
And in the worst case scenario, if you have no electrolyte and you have hot spots where things are burning up, if the electrodes can touch, now you have a short circuit inside the cell and you go into thermal runaway, and now you have a battery fire. That's when you go into a fireball situation. So yeah, if that sounds about right.
Yeah, because the reduction in the capacity is effectively like a plaque building up on the on inside the battery, and it's actually blocking the lithium ion transfer. So it actually means that certain areas inside the cell can no longer accept the lithium, so it then can't store charge.
And now you have a loss of capacitance.
And therefore the capacity of the cell, the energy that can be stored, is reduced. And what you get is slowly that build-up gets longer, and that's what the dendrites are. And they can, at some points, pierce through.
And that's when you get the short circuit.
And then you get short circuits and stuff as well.
There we go then. Yeah. Tony Game, thank you for the £5 again. Yeah. I was wondering, because my phone has done that to the point where the rear glass has come off the frame. I've now got a new flagship as a replacement. Yeah, absolutely. As you saw there, the pressure build-up in the cell was enough to bust the glass out of your phone.
Yeah.
And just like, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To bust something open. That gives you and that's the other thing as well, is that like, even if we ignore the short circuit risk and the loss of capacity and stuff like that, having something that is pressurized that much, pushing the device apart, that's not a good thing. You know, that's just
potentially going to damage other components.
Yeah, and on MacBook Pros, like on a typical MacBook, and other laptops don't suffer it, but MacBooks are prone to this because the cells are very exposed. The cell can expand enough that it's going to cause the glass trackpad to bulge up, and that will bulge up and then crack the trackpad. If you deal with this and replace the battery before then, it's not a big deal. However, I've watched people who've let this run away to where it's bulged up to the point where as soon as that trackpad cracks, it's like, okay, now you need a new battery, and also you're going to need a new trackpad, which is going to be another 50 quid, you know. So again, you're also just exasperating the amount of damage to the product that you're doing. And while I've never seen it damage the logic board, but you're still bending the chassis. The physical chassis can bend because you've got so much pressure that the chassis is trying to keep squeezed flat. Yeah. And it's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's worse in the MacBooks because obviously they are a single piece of aluminium, whereas obviously basically any other brand is ultimately cheap plastic that just pops apart.
Yeah.
So it's kind of worse for Macs because they're built better.
Yeah. Yeah. In a weird kind of way.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it still works. The battery health is 77% health. Yeah. That's so yeah, I mean it's reporting 77%. It might be lower than that if you actually calibrated the battery. It might
also,
drop.
Because it's a U23, it's probably worth paying someone to replace the battery.
Yeah, S23 is a nice phone. Yeah. If it isn't completely trashed, pop into a phone repair shop and say, can you stick a new battery in this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also
I don't know phone repair, so I have no idea what the costs are on that. But
the other thing as well that can help with that and make it so you get more cycles is the Samsung software and the Pixel 6 Plus have a charge limiter on there, so you can go into the battery settings and make it so it only ever charges to 80%.
Yeah.
So even if you
oh my
leave
god,
it
we've
on
been sitting on
charge,
desktop this whole view. I'm sorry, everyone.
Even if you leave it on charge forever, it will only go to 80%.
Yeah, this is a really good feature as well because the front of house, I use a Zettel card machine, which is a card payment machine that you run off of a mobile phone because they're cheap and simple. And I've got my old Huawei P20 out front, and that just sits plugged in all the time. However, the phone automatically lets the battery sit at 80% charge to keep it conditioned.
Yeah.
So the chances are, if I actually unplug and try and use that phone, well, actually the phone is old and the battery goes dead within a day, but still, phones are getting good at actually
but also
conditioning
just
themselves.
hopefully stop it turning dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the main thing.
Yeah, it means that I can leave that phone plugged in, and I don't actually need to worry that the battery is just going to suddenly puff up and just grenade the phone.
Yeah. Another thing that's an interesting feature on the Pixel 9 series is they actually have a functioning battery bypass. So if the phone is at 80% and plugged into a charger, it doesn't draw anything from the battery.
Okay.
Its entire operation is out of the charger.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's not touching the battery at all. So you can leave it sat there forever.
Yeah.
And the battery is only being recharged
Stored.
tiny amounts every now and then when through natural discharge, it discharges below 80.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the same as the Asus ROG gaming phones as well. They have that, which I think is really good because if you know you're going to be sitting gaming or watching a film or something,
because you're
high
using
screen
it as a
brightness,
console. Yeah.
high usage scenario, but it's at 80% and plugged into a power brick, actually none of that's touching the battery.
Yeah.
So you can do that for an entire 8-hour flight.
Yeah. And in addition to that, the battery just isn't taking the wear and tear of that throughput.
Yeah, and you get less heat in the device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Just quickly bashing through the thing. I see there's various questions and stuff. So finishing up, what laptop brand has this feature? I've seen little to no laptops that do this.
Dell have it.
Do they?
They'll have it in the latitudes. Yeah, you can go into the BIOS. You can go into the BIOS and then you can set a maximum minimum charge level.
Oh, that's neat. So
you can also set a maximum minimum charge speed, and also you can set it so that is based on hours. So if between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. it will only charge up to 80%, but after 5 p.m. and before 9 a.m. it will charge up to anything.
Interesting.
So when you're in your laptop dock at work, it will only do 80% all day. Yeah. But then after 5, it will charge up.
Yeah.
And you can unplug it and you'd have 100%.
Yeah, so you can charge to 100% overnight and go into work with a full battery, but at work, while it's plugged in all day, it will sit at 80%. Yeah. That's a nice touch, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. There's probably I've seen some laptop brands that have done this with software.
Yeah.
But I don't know how reliable that is.
The same features to exist in like HP ProBooks and things like that. Yeah. Just the stuff that's expected to sit in a dock all day.
Yeah. Apparently you can learn and do it automatically as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like the proper enterprise grade stuff, I'd expect to have this where they're expecting users to leave them on laptop docks all day.
Yeah.
Because they are desktop replacement laptops, but not in the sense of being 4 inches thick, but being hot desking replacement devices. Yeah,
ThinkPads can do it through Vantage software and stuff. Yeah, I'd imagine a lot of brands can do it in software. So just have a look, basically, to see if your laptop has that as a software feature.
But
you might have to.
Only,
I would imagine only the business classes can do it. I think. I'm sure I've seen Samsungs do it. Not that that's relevant anymore, but obviously Samsungs were consumer laptops.
Yeah.
So there might be some consumer laptops that can do it in software.
I think the Steam Deck can do it.
Yeah, but also ThinkPad has it. Lenovo Vantage. You get Lenovo Vantage on all the consumer Lenovos as well. And while I don't condone installing Lenovo software, but that might be a reason to try it out. And people have said apparently maybe Steam Deck has bypass or other management stuff.
Yeah.
Don't know there. Haven't used a Steam Deck.
Well, I'd expect it in those portable consoles.
Yeah.
The portable consoles, I would expect to have it.
It would make sense for them to have some kind of battery management.
To have a bypass mode, because you're going to be. There is a high probability that you'll sit with it at a high state of charge, and high thermal usage situation.
Yeah.
And you don't want that draining via the battery for no apparent reason.
Yeah, Tenant Gamer also says, I'm annoyed because I've still got 500 quid left to pay on that S23. Yeah, I would take it to a phone shop, ask for a quote for a battery replacement and see if they can fix it up for you and then just flog it on eBay.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do. Just get your money back on that. So yeah. Do gaming laptops have that feature as well? Maybe. Again, you'd have to check. Maybe in software. It depends. So, people are also asking about the Firefox terms of service updates. So I don't have any super answers on this, but to quickly
I've not seen it, so
summarize, Firefox recently updated their terms of service, and it included a extremely vague blanket thing of any information you enter into Firefox. Well, as Amar put it, quote, "When you upload or input information through Firefox, you hereby grant us non-exclusive, royalty-free worldwide license to use that information to help you navigate, experience, and interact with online content as you indicate with your use of Firefox."
Yes.
So, first of all, these kinds of things are really common in terms of service agreements, because when you use like, let's say you're using Discord, and you're using Discord and you want to set your profile picture. When you set your profile picture, Discord needs to take the picture you've uploaded to them, edit it to resize and rescale and recompress it, and set it as your profile picture that is visible in various places through the Discord app. Discord requires your permission to edit this content that you've uploaded to them, to do all of that. That's what this means. So the reality is, when you see a very, very scary term like that, what it actually means...
A lot of the time.
A lot of the time. However, the problem is, though, is that it is also, and that's most likely what this actually means, but it is also extremely vague wording that theoretically allows them to do crappy things like take every word and every image you enter into Firefox and use that to train an AI model or sell data and stuff like that. So the problem is the charitable read on this is that it's just a belt and braces covering their ass terms of service agreement, because you can have a Firefox account which you can upload a profile picture to, which will be displayed somewhere in the Firefox application. So they need your permission to edit the content that you've uploaded to them. However,
it's also the case of, I wonder if they're also protecting the case of, we need to be able to pass on the data you supply to us to third parties for the internet to function. We have to take the data you have typed in the address bar and pass it on to DNS servers to gain the IP address of the server you wish to go to.
That's it.
We then have to pass the data you type into our browser into the login field of the website you're trying to log into.
Yeah.
Therefore, we are passing on your data to third parties. So it's without knowing what the intention was, it's difficult to know. But obviously, if it is one of those scary and slightly generic statements, it might not be what it seems. But also, we don't know.
That's the problem. And Firefox's response to this was not particularly helpful either. So the reality is, this is probably not nefarious. However, to quote Dan Olson, rules should always be judged by their ability, law should always be judged by their ability to oppress.
Yeah.
And this is a rule that can indeed be used to oppress. It is so vague that they can leverage this to do terrible things with your data.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
So the thing is, this doesn't mean that Firefox is just selling all of your data to third parties and is just and is taking ownership of everything you do on the internet. It's extremely unlikely that that is what is happening. However, theoretically, they have now reserved the rights to do that, which is bad. So this is the thing. All the people that are immediately being like, oh, I've already uninstalled Firefox. Oh, time to say goodbye to Firefox. Number one, you're overreacting. It's probably not that. Theoretically, it could be, but it's probably not. Number two, you're also assuming that any other browsers are actually going to be better than Firefox. And while we can dig through the terms of service for other browsers like Brave, Opera, whatever. Firefox are a very privacy-conscious company, and I do not believe that you're going to have better luck with a different browser. I'm not saying that Firefox are perfect, but I don't believe that another browser is going to give you better privacy, in my opinion. So yeah. So that's my take on that. uBlock Origin is now blocked in Chrome. It is not. Go to your extensions and you can just say, I want to use this anyway. So yeah, there is a flag where it will pop up and automatically disable it, but you can just enable it again. So yeah, actually not a problem. Can't reinstall it. I have installed uBlock Origin about 10 times on the latest download of Chrome this week. You just go to extensions and you enable it again. So yeah, it does still work. So yeah, I think that's about everything. Right. Chrome Web Store is gone. Yeah, just go to the uBlock Origin website and you can download the Manifest v2 version. So yeah, don't know. Anywho, I think I have enjoyed this conversation in English.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think we covered all the topics. I didn't spot anything else pop up in chat. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I have normally I would say I'd be streaming on Twitch tomorrow, but actually I probably won't be because I'm doing stuff this weekend. I've got friends coming over to visit, and they're actually already awkwardly sitting on the sofa, waiting for us to finish.
I mean, they might not be sitting awkwardly.
yeah.
They could be sitting comfortably.
Yeah. Are you sitting comfortably? Are you even there? I'm not sure. You might have gone out. No, he's not actually there. I wasn't sure.
Are you sitting comfortably? Are you even here?
I wasn't.
Am I talking to myself?
I wasn't sure. Yeah, he's probably gone to move his car. Anyway. So yeah. Next video, don't know. For those of you who don't know, I've got issues with my leg at the moment, which has mean I've been in chronic pain for the past month, and it seriously damaged my productivity. So making videos is hard work at the moment. But I'm on new meds as of yesterday, which, judging by yesterday and this afternoon, are managing things a lot better. So while I don't know what's going on, but hopefully I should have things under control at the moment. So yeah, videos coming soon. Probably no stream tomorrow. Join the Discord.
Buy my merch.
Thanks for coming. We'll be back next week, probably, with something else.
Buy the merch.
Yeah, maybe third time's the charm. We'll actually have a look at my audio amplifier that doesn't work properly.
You never know.
Yeah. All right, thank you, everyone.
Buy your VPNs via my custom link in my description.
Indeed. So maybe I'll reply to the comment. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I'm stopping, leaving. Live streaming, end stream.
Insert ads.
Goodbye.
You're not signed in.
Live streaming is not available right now. No! Verify it's you. No, we're signed out of LastPass. Caradog, do something.
Whoops.
It's gonna multi-factor authentication. I could just quit OBS, but that's not funny. My God. Whenever people complain about Google services, believe them.
You did it.
All right, now I can log into Google. Okay, select channel. 2 hours later.
Right, now you've got to click the insert ads button. Click the insert ads button.
Oh my God, if it gives me the option, I'll do it.
It's there, it's right there.
That would be a good time to. We're doing it, insert ad. It's
End
done.
stream. There we go.
Get hecked, everyone who doesn't have an ad blocker or premium. Can I end the stream while we're on an ad break?
Yes.
All right, I'll do it. Goodbye.
Bye.